Hi, fantasy book lovers, TGIF. This is Thank Gods It's Fantasy Podcast. We are Kayla, Veronica, and Brianna, three best friends who love talking about all things books. From the romance, the conflict, and of course, morally gray men. Every 2 weeks, we will be getting together to talk about our theories, opinions, and reviews of our current read. Please read along, join in, and be one of our book besties too. Welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we will be talking about the first half of Heat of the Everflame, written by Penn. This is the third book of the Kindred's Curse saga. We split this book in half as it is significantly longer than the first two. Before we start, we would like to make our usual disclaimer that many of the things we discuss might be more suitable for mature audiences. We are all adults here, so if explicit language or content is not for you, then turn back while you still can. All right, y'all. I thought we were going to pick up pretty much right where we ended the last book, and this one did not do that like the previous one had. We start in this like spot, we just don't really know where we are initially, and she thinks she's drowning, which I mean, I guess she kind of is, on flame root powder, but I wasn't expecting such a drastic relocation.
I know. I didn't know where she was, and then when she was just saying the drowning thing, for some reason I thought that she was in the water, like the explosion that was going to happen. I thought it blew her off the island and put her in the sea, and then them talking about like a hand over the mouth kind of situation. And I was like, oh, they're trying to force something down her throat, and it's a liquid substance, and that's why she has the drowning sensation, which makes more sense. But yeah,
apparently you can't apparently you can't actually like OD on flame root though, because damn, they gave her
a lot.
They're like, I just gave like twice what they said that we should do because she's strong. Like,
no, it was like 3 to 4 times.
I was gonna say it was even more than that. Like they were like freaking throwing it down her throat. I was like, what in the world?
I thought it was interesting that she didn't like the flavor of it. Like after all these years, I feel like usually most people, it's like beer, you know, it's not good the first time you try it, but eventually you grow.
You get acclimated, yeah.
Yeah. And so she's like, no, I hate this stuff. So makes sense then.
Yeah. But yeah, we jump into being in Arboros, which it takes a second to kind of figure that out, but we meet Cordelia, who is the mother or leader of the Guardians there. I enjoyed her character quite a bit, actually. I kind of want to see more of her in the future because I feel like it's going to be similar to Arlie in a lot of ways, like as far as personality goes, because they seem like they get along great. I'm kind of excited to see what they do with her character still. Obviously, we see some of that in this section, but yeah, I don't know. I liked her. We also see that the Guardians now have Godstone weapons, which we had kind of thought was going to be a thing. It is indeed. They seem to have quite a few of them.
Like a lot.
Yes, I think, surprised by the sheer volume.
I was surprised. For some reason, I didn't know that they would have it. I thought they would just have a lot of the Fortesian steel weapons, but not actual Godstone. And then, yes, the amount that they had was incredible. Like, where did they get it? Like, how did they even find places to steal it from or to buy it? That's the part that
because we didn't really see any of them in
Lumnos.
Like, yeah, like we didn't see any there. So I was like, why do you all have so many? Are they getting them there also?
Yeah, it's weird that
a lot of exchanging happened all of a sudden.
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird that all of them have it in this specific Guardian camp, which they did say that like in Lumnos, it's a little different of a Guardian situation in that they're like integrated into the city. They have homes to go to. This is their life. Their families are there. They're hiding in the woods. They're relocating a lot. So maybe it's like one of the main branches or something. But yeah, I thought it was weird that literally almost everyone there had them. All their arrows, and I don't know, for it being like hunted down and all of them
it destroyed supposedly. Yeah.
Destroyed. It's just weird.
Agreed. So Cordelia, of course, makes a comment that Orly did not tell her about Diem being descended. And Diem's like, same, bud.
Mhm.
I didn't know, let me
Would have liked
go.
to know that myself, and so
Yeah.
I think that clearly caught her off guard, and then, of course, Dia mentioning that she was part of the Luminous Guardian, she was like, "Are you being serious?"
Yeah.
Like, "What?" And then, of course, Vance shows up and is like, "Well, I mean, not really," which, I mean, he's not wrong in a lot of ways. She was kind of playing both sides
Yeah.
a lot of the time, but I fucking hate Vance. Vance
Yeah.
was pissing me off. I never have liked him,
No.
obviously, but he was really pissing me off in this section. But I also love freaking Cordelia just sticking it to him
Oh my
because
gosh.
he's not actually the leader.
Yeah.
He's just a fill in. The amount of times she brought that up, I appreciated.
I think it's
Um,
weird. This was a very drastic, like it felt like a very drastic shift for his character because in the
yeah,
first book he's obviously you're seeing him in a different light because it's from a guardian to guardian, but he's like this sweet, like kind of humble, like his other people with him are
yeah,
aggressive and he's not very aggressive at all. Seems to be
yeah,
very understanding. And then in the second book, we see him obviously he's a little more aggressive,
yeah.
but to find out
And
that
then this one, he gets like full on dictatorship like leader type.
Yeah,
yeah, and
because
like violent. He
Yes.
didn't seem like extremely violent before, and then to find out that's always kind of been how he is, and that Orly's the only one who kind of tempered that for so long. It's like that's kind of weird. Definitely didn't
I
get that
And
vibe from him.
no,
I
but
thought it
maybe
was
he was
kind of a
trying to hide
flex.
that from Diem a little bit too. Like maybe he
Mhm.
was like playing into a
Yes.
role or a character there for a little bit, and
Yeah.
Like
then
a
his
cult.
true colors were, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
Honestly, it does have very culty vibes when you
Yeah.
Yeah.
mention that. It is interesting that Vance actually helped save her. I wonder what the debt he had with Orly was because he said he finally paid that in full. So I'm curious
Mhm.
what had kind of let really we need fucking Orly to show up already so we get some goddamn answers.
I
The
know,
amount of questions
honestly.
I have for this woman is out of control.
Probably
We
not as
still
many
haven't
as
even
DM
gotten
has.
there. Well, I mean, yes, but I would love all of those answered.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, we do get confirmation she is the leader of the Lumnos branch, which was not surprising to us at
No.
all. I was surprised that she had Vance as her second, just knowing how violent he is now.
Mhm.
Well, they said that she
Eh,
didn't think that she was gonna be gone that long, so because he was
true.
leader-ishy, that's just, that was her second. So she's like,
Leader-ish.
it'll be fine. Luminous will be fine because I'm not gonna be gone that long. But she's still gone. Now she's gone,
I was
gone.
gonna say, and still gone. But she's been the leader for nearly a decade, which
Mhm.
I was impressed that she'd hit it for that long. I mean, obviously, that was the relationship they had where she just had her secrets, but a decade is a long ass time, y'all, to be a
Mhm.
leader of a cult like organization and have
That
none of your family know.
that would mean that she became the leader right around when DM
She
started
started,
showing her powers.
Maybe right before, because I mean, depending on like how old she was when she started, like when
Like
she's going
around
through
10.
puberty.
I was gonna say, I think it was really close to the time she got her
Oh,
powers,
Yeah.
which is maybe that's why she wanted to try and make a difference, like because she wasn't sure if she was gonna manifest them or not. Because again, she was born with brown eye. Like maybe
I
she was
know,
like, maybe it won't happen. I don't know.
but her kids
Or
still
she
half.
wanted or she wanted to be the person who made it less violent. Like
Yeah.
she was like, "Well, if I'm leading, then hopefully they won't kill my daughter."
I can
I
see
And
was
that.
gonna say,
that was a stipulation was like, "You stay the hell away from my daughter." For both
Hmm.
yes.
Luther and them.
I know, I'm really curious her intentions behind a lot of the things she did, because I really do think she had a lot of positive intentions behind them, so I wanna freaking meet her already. We need to get to this freaking jail yesterday.
But I found out that she was, like, once again gone somewhere else. I was like, "God, we're never
I
gonna meet
know.
her. It's never gonna
I
happen."
know. I really thought after the end of the last book, we were gonna finally, because they were in the same location, and now they're in very different locations again, and I was like,
Yep.
literally, how did DM get saved, but her mom got caught? How did that really play out?
Well, Diem, I think it's just because she's a descended, right? And she could
Well, I
survive or
know
be
because
bought.
her mom, I think, told Vance and, what's his butt?
Yeah.
Breck
Yeah, to
Mhm.
to get her
take
out,
her
so I think they probably immediately saw her, got her out, and
her
then
out, and then
the
her
fighting
mom
started
murdered.
at that point, so her mom
I'm
was probably
honestly
in the middle of it.
surprised that Vance went ahead and saved her. He could be like, "Oh, sorry, couldn't do it," and then would have been
That's what I
I
fine.
thought.
know,
But I
especially with how he's been, I
yeah.
feel like that almost tracks more for me. Like,
Yes.
okay,
Well, he wanted her blood, so
I
So
mean,
maybe in
he
his mind, he was
that's
like, "I gotta
true,
keep
he
her
had
alive."
but he doesn't know.
yeah.
I don't think he knows that she has to be alive to do it. Or maybe they put that
Yeah,
connection
'cause then
in.
it would have gone to a different, yeah, I think he did know she needed to at least be alive.
Okay.
He did not
Mhm.
know something else, though, that we'll get to,
Yeah.
which thank God. So, we find out Arlie's jail on Fortos, and they are hoping to use Diem in a trade for her mom, which, of course, Diem's happy to, you know, do, but the amount of resistance she still gives them is so
Oh.
funny because, of course, they shackle her to a tree
Oh my gosh.
with the queen of Arboros, which that was wild that they also just had the queen casually shackled to a tree there.
Mhm.
And so she kind of gets a little more information from her in a quick little pass off that
Mhm.
she thought she was the only one alive. She didn't even know if anyone else survived it. And then, of course, the Guardians come and take Arboros away, and Diem goes fucking insane.
She's
God
berserk mode.
power.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my God. This was such a cool thing to read as she's just, I'm picturing a fucking giant tree that they're
Oh, yeah.
shackled to.
Oh, yeah.
And like the way she just digs in and is trying to, I was like, this is insane. I am literally just picturing this tree
Yeah.
fucking falling over. I was like,
Uprooting.
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
and, like, she was so dead set on it, and then I love that all it took was knocking her out with a wooden club. I
Yeah,
mean, it
I
took,
didn't
like,
get
2
that.
hits. No, I was like, "Homegirl could move a fucking tree, but this club's gonna be what knocks her."
Guys, she's real sensitive to head injuries, okay? She gets a
It's
lot
because
of
of the
them.
flame root. That's right. It's because of the flame root. Okay, you guys. She's prone to injury. No, that still doesn't make sense.
No,
No,
because she was still, I'm telling you,
No. Her ass
when they
gets
just,
knocked out a lot.
a
she does
lot.
get knocked out a lot,
Maybe
you're
they
not
have soft
wrong.
spots that are just,
Like a
Her
exposed.
font
baby.
her fontanelles are still
Yeah.
open.
Oh my god, stop it. I cannot. But obviously they then chain her up to a tree that's 3 times as large as the previous one, and they add a shit more chain shackles, whatever.
Mhm.
And so she has then become resigned to the fact that she cannot get out of these ones. And the Arboros queen is gone. We do not really know what's come of that still.
Yeah, do
Well,
you think
Um,
she's alive?
no, I don't know because they said they need
I
6
don't know.
to do something.
They
So
what?
I was gonna say,
they
I don't know what
and
they're
at
doing with
towards the
her.
middle of the book or they're like, "We needed 6 votes to figure out if we're
But
gonna
she was
release
still
her."
missing.
Yes, so I'm curious if she was missing or if she is died, but the one
Breck?
person
She asked Breck, and he was like, "Don't ever ask
Don't
about her
ask.
again."
Yeah,
And
like,
he just kinda, like, looks the way that he responded made it seem like they had already killed her. But then
I
they
don't
kept
know.
kind of talking about, like, the other one and stuff like that randomly throughout within the Guardians, so I don't know, but the way that Breck made it seem when they talked was that she was dead.
ominous. Yeah.
He was like, "You need to forget that she was ever here."
Yeah.
But I'm curious if okay, same thing. If DM dies, then that means that a new Lumnos ruler would emerge. So if
I was gonna say, so I don't know that they would
yeah,
kill her. I feel like they would
Oh,
want to
that's
have
what you're
some
saying, like, still missing and there's
yes.
no heir
Maybe
yet. Ah,
maybe they're
that's
flame
true.
rooting the shit out of her and
Yeah.
locked
I
her
mean,
up.
they could
Also,
be,
maybe she's not eating, or maybe she's just drinking. I don't know, but frickin' DM
Yeah.
was so weak in this meadow, just
oh my
trying to
god. Yeah, when she was refusing to eat, because Brett comes by, checks on Diem. We find out Henry is alive. Dumb. And he was on the island. Sorry.
Dumb.
He's just thankfully we saw little of him in this book, but I know he's
He might
gonna
show up.
ruin my life again here soon. Henry knew about Vance's plan to capture Diem, which another con on my con list. Diem tells Breck there will be no wedding after this, which about fucking time that we finally make peace with that. And then she makes the comment that love requires honesty, which again, why this took so long for her to figure out. And so, of course, Breck makes a comment about her parents, which that was kind of a hard little
Yeah.
back and forth, because then Diem casually drops that her dad is dead, and Breck kind of was like, oh fuck.
Mhm.
Oh shit, I fucked up. I should not have made a comment about this at all. And it's interesting because I still liked Breck through most of these interactions, and obviously
Yeah.
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
redeems himself as he goes. He was still a very likable character throughout all of her time in this camp. We did find out he was redirecting weapons to the rebels. Do you think that's how they were getting the Fortison steel weapons, or is that how they were getting some sort of Godstone weapons?
I don't think they could have been getting Godstone that way because
I agree.
the Descended they get rid of it when they find it because
Okay.
it's not really gonna help them. Yes, is it stronger than steel? Sure, but they have other means. They don't want that out there
Yeah.
because it's
Okay.
poison for them. So I feel like they would just get rid of it.
I'm
I feel like they have been stockpiling this over years and years and years and
Yeah.
like since the Blood War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that like family heirlooms from humans
Mhm.
who are fighting in the war or whatever, I feel like a lot of them probably have just been passed down, or that's what I mean, unless there was a cache somewhere that humans had buried
Just
somewhere.
Well,
yeah.
Random. Mm.
They're getting it from somewhere.
Mhm.
unless she made it when she made that crater and made all that black glittering crystal stuff, and they all of
Oh
a sudden now
god.
have a bunch.
I hope that's not where
I
we are
hope
getting
that's not
it,
it either, but
'cause then she will feel so guilty about some things.
yeah, for sure.
Homegirl's
They
got enough guilt on her shoulders most of the time. We don't need to add more to
I
it.
mean, it
I
sounded a
know.
lot like Godstone,
I
and then it
mean,
was
you're not wrong.
gone, and Henry was there, and Vance was there. They would know what it would look like better than anybody.
Hope
Yeah.
not. So Brack tells DM they were able to get a small group of guardians on the island to light the fuses that helped blow up the temple. Obviously, that did not work. The temple is still intact. But the guardians think that they're the ones that cracked the Heartstone, which
Not
That
true.
I love that.
works out for Diem.
Very much works out for DM. And then I love that that's like their threat. They're like, we could blow it up more. And meanwhile, DM's like,
She's
could
like,
you?
"Do what you want to it. Nothing's gonna work, and good luck. Don't touch
No,
it."
I know. They don't know what it does. They just know it's important to the Descended and, part of the Forging Day. But Forging Day is not for another 3 months. So that means they have to, like, essentially hold down this island for 3 months, which I was like,
Mhm.
y'all's plan is a little ridiculous, but whatever. But yeah, we already know he helped get her off the island. Yep, forget about what she sees in regards to the Arboros Queen. Oh, he then tells her to eat. He brought her food, and of course, she immediately recognizes the smell of flame root powder in both her food and drink. So she has to both withstand drinking and eating anything, which I was bummed that they were putting it in both. I understand why they were putting it in both, but I was like, this poor girl, that's a long time with
Mhm.
how much they had shoved down her fucking throat
Mhm.
to work her its way through. I was like, oh my goodness, girl. Like, dedication, we appreciate. We then fast forward a little bit, and Vance and this group of guys tries to go off with Diem, which was very icky feeling. I obviously did
Mhm.
not know what the plan was, but I didn't like it. And DM obviously got bad vibes from it too,
Mhm.
because she threw a fit about it. She wanted to make sure there was witnesses to whatever was about to occur. She knew Cordelia was obviously the better option than Vance, so she was trying to make
Yeah.
sure she could still
See,
be around.
you know what the problem was? She didn't yell fire. No, that's why no one came to help her.
True
Ah,
that.
I mean, honestly.
She should have
Um,
yelled Gryvern.
Driver.
yeah, that would
I
have been more
mean,
effective. She didn't know that yet. She didn't know how effective that was gonna be
yes,
yet.
They
correct.
would've.
Yeah, the guys decide to cut her a bunch of times and start collecting her blood in vials, which is very icky.
Mhm.
But of course, Vance is trying to get his way into the palace because he knows that he needs her blood to get in.
And he only knows
Cordy,
because she told them. And so
correct.
Mhm.
she's just oversharing. That's all.
She does have a tendency to overshare,
Yeah.
which I mean, same. I can't really fault her for that.
Same.
I'm a very open
Twins.
book also. But Cordelia sees this and tells Vance to chain her back to the tree. Of course, he is his own man and decides he will not be doing that quite yet. And then all of a sudden, we've got this attack incoming. They've got all sorts of alarms going off, and lo and behold, her Shadow Daddy and Sorai
Oh,
show up to try and save her. Man, this was another just like heart pounding moment to read.
oh my
Because we find
God.
This
out the Guardians
this
have
book
two
is
Godstone
not
bolts. Oh
this book has not stopped.
no! It's
Like,
just go, 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 go,
it's
go
like
the whole
fight
time.
scene,
Yeah.
big major thing happening at one after the other. There's, like, no fluff in here.
No.
You guys,
And for 1,200 pages, that's a lot.
tell
That's
me I
wild.
wasn't the only one when she was like, I see him and I know it's him, but I don't feel him. That you were not worried that there was like an imposter or somebody else
Oh, yeah. I
there.
didn't think it was him. I was, like, worried that it was not
Um
him.
Yeah, there was like an immediate I was a little alarmed, and then all of a sudden, like, obviously it was probably right around the time she was putting the pieces together about like him obviously not having his powers there, that I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
fuck." Fuck,
Mhm.
but but part of me thought it was also like her flame root powder suppressing her abilities that like
Hmm.
I thought was also coming into play a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was starting to get them back, but I was like, maybe that's impact. Like, I was really hoping for the best
Mhm.
You were, because
Yeah.
I was
because
like, oh no, who is this?
I mean, I
Like, is
felt
this an
I
icky
know.
illusion?
about it.
Is she like hallucinating? Like, I don't know.
I
I did
mean,
not.
yeah, because she's so dehydrated and fluid
Yeah,
deprived for so long.
Yeah.
I was worried.
I'd
I
be
was
so
concerned.
sad. Oh God, that would be terrible. But yes, they have two Godstone bolts and they're gonna try and kill her Gryvern, which I was like, I swear to fucking God, if you guys kill Sorai, I will rage. I
Oh,
will
yeah.
not be okay. I will be
Yep.
writing a strongly worded letter to Penn Cole now. Like the amount of letters I've got to write, I should have a saved copy of whatever letter in regards to
And this
how dare you
changed
kill this character and
to
change the
whom it
character.
may concern.
Yeah. Yep. I would have been
Really,
so mad. I was
I know.
anything no.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. You can't kill her.
Nope.
Ugh. No, and I will not be okay if she dies. But of course, Diem is trying to get all the guys that are surrounding her that have been cutting her to try and leave her alone. Once again, she's like trying to protect them so that Sarai won't attack them and or kill them. And of course, Vance is stupid and stubborn and his arm gets burnt to shit because he wouldn't leave even though sweet Diem is really trying to protect him, which
Yeah.
I I commend her in some regards for like her desire to like
Preserve
not
life.
have anyone preserve life, but at the same time I was like, "Man, girl, these guys were just cutting the shit out of you. How
Yeah.
are you feeling remorse? I want you to be a little more enraged about that, and I actually
Mhm.
want them to die a little bit." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm on the same wavelength as you. And of course,
Yeah.
in real life, I don't think I would think that, but in books, I'm like, let them die. Like,
Yeah.
what are we
She's like,
doing? So
no.
I it's probably more realistic the way she's thinking through it, but I'm like, "Nah, let him die."
Mhm.
Um, I did love seeing that Sarai's fire does not hurt Diem in any way, shape, or form,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Mhm.
the warmth of it, she, like, felt rejuvenated, but I was like, "Yes, I love
Mhm.
this. I hope this is a thing," and I think,
I feel like
obviously,
it's
as we
gonna
see,
be a thing. I feel
It's
like
definitely gonna be a thing.
definitely a
I
thing.
feel like all the Gryverns are gonna fucking light her up, and then I don't know.
I know, I
Oh, yeah, I don't think any Gryvern Dragonfire is going to affect her at all.
no,
No.
100%. Because we
None of
get
them.
many glimpses coming up of different things that I think speak to that.
Yep.
Luther is struggling to get to Diem because they just are shooting a shit ton of arrows at him and he doesn't have
Yeah.
his powers.
Mhm.
So sad day. I was very sad about this.
I was
Um,
kinda like, "Girl, you're so focused on saving these assholes that were just slicing you to shit when you could be running to Sorai and she could pick you up and go. Like, take a few arrows. You're descended. Maybe don't take a Godstone arrow, but take some of the other arrows."
I think she can take a Godstone arrow,
But I
quite
don't think they would
frankly.
have shot her
I think she
anyway,
could
but I
too.
don't know if she didn't know that yet. They wouldn't have shot her because they
Well,
needed her.
no. No, she did not know that yet,
Yeah.
but I
I
do
know,
think
but I
that's a
was like,
thing.
"Why are you not running to them? Why you're, like,
She's
so focused
weak.
on
She's
She's
gotta save everyone.
dehydrated.
she's
She
weak
needs
in mind and
protein
body."
and carbs. She needs some
Stop.
sustenance.
Oh my
No.
god, I'm dead.
Luther can give
Same.
But
her sustenance. Shadow Daddy sustenance.
I love that.
oh my god, I'm dead. But yes, so Diem in her very weakened state manages to still use her powers in order to evaporate the first bolt that they shot at her Gryvern, because it looked like it was gonna hit her. And then Diem, of course, tells Sarai to take Luther and go so she won't get hit by the second bolt, which I was just like, of course. She's still gonna be in this fucking camp, and I'm annoyed that this was a failed attempt. Like, get out of here.
Self-sacrificing bitch. Like, get your shit together.
Well, and, like, this was a lot easier. You know his ass is coming back. 100% you know his ass is coming
Yep.
back. You just made it harder for him to get back to you and probably more dangerous for him because now they're going to be preparing
Yeah.
for it.
Because all she keeps saying, she's
Yes.
like, I know he'll come for me. Like, I know he will.
Yeah, but
He
yet you
did.
still have him picked up and taken back
Yeah.
to Lumnos.
Cannot.
Make a bigger
Cannot.
shield. And then, that's what she should have used her power for, to make a big shield and then
Mm-hmm.
go with
Mm-hmm.
them and then
Mm-hmm.
flee away.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
But it would have
again,
been
she
a
was
fast
weak.
book if she was smart. So,
Well,
Ain't
true.
that the truth?
Very true.
Fucking
And
DM.
then of course they realize she used her powers, so she gets force fed the flame root powder yet again.
after
Once
she
again,
wakes
she's
up from
drowning.
passing out. Uh-huh.
Correct. And Cordelia says she will watch her take it from now on. And I was like, that's justified. I don't really blame you for that. But she was really mad because 8 guardians were killed and 20 had serious burns, which of course DM felt guilty for. Like that wasn't something she wanted to happen. And so, of course, she shares that this white asterberry will help with the burn. She's still trying to be helpful for all these people that were trying to kill her Gryvern and her man, but whatever.
I can't. I
She's
really
just got
can't.
a wild way of thinking, I feel like. And so DM said she wasn't trying to kill the Guardians, and Cordelia admits that Luther and Sarai got away, thank God, because she wasn't sure if the second bolt had hit or not. Cordelia also allows DM to tell her side of what happened in Lumnos with the Guardians because she had
Mm-hmm.
only heard Vance's side, and I thought that was really commendable that she was willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously she doesn't get along well with Vance, so I'm sure
Mm-mm.
that's helping our odds a little bit, but
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. DM is trying to be all secretive and pretends to sleep a lot to try and eavesdrop on different conversations, which
I
I
thought
I
that
love
was
that.
hilarious. I like how she was like, I got a sudden narcolepsy diagnosis or something like that. And was
yes.
like sleeping
Yep, all
20
the time.
hours of the day. I was like, God, that's fucking
I mean,
hilarious.
what else would you do though if you're, like, trapped to a tree? Like, it's not like there's a lot of entertainment happening. Might as well pretend to
Well,
Mm.
sleep all the time, I
I'll tell
guess.
you, if I was strapped to a tree, depending on who my captor is, there could be lots of different things you could be doing. With these ones, yes, I'd be taking naps, but if a shadow daddy was involved
Well, I mean,
and I was
obviously,
tied
but
to
that's not the
something
situation.
immovable, hopefully other things than sleeping are ensuing. So
Oh my god, I love you. We read too much smut, guys, it's fine.
I don't really want
You
this to
read,
happen in real life, but
I'm gonna say, you
Yeah,
got that like
obviously.
captor capty kink going on there.
Is that what Jeff needs to do? Just tie you up and pretend you're trapped somewhere? Veronica's like, "Yeah, that sounds great, actually. You should let him know that." Game on.
let's go.
You know he would happily do that for you.
Oh.
Um, alright, so she's eavesdropping. This is where she overhears that the descendant will probably need to take the island back by forging day, but that is 3 months away. And then Brett comes over, interrupts this conversation, and tells them that it's him and Herkin's turn to watch DM, which it's very clearly not, based off that conversation. And Breck breaks out DM and knocks out poor little Herkin,
I
which I just
know.
pictured him being this little teenage boy,
Oh
like,
yeah,
just like doesn't know any better.
I
And
thought
not like a
he
Um,
competent one. Like
I
a
thought he murdered him to begin with. I had to reread it a few times to be like, no, okay, he
no,
just
he just
like
knocked him out.
knocked him out. But I
No,
was like,
I gave
damn,
Breck the
Brett.
benefit of the doubt. I was
I
like,
don't
he just
know.
knocked him out. He's
I think Breck
fine.
has a ruthless side to him. Like he's in it for the right reasons, but I think that he
Yeah.
could be ruthless. Kind of like Taryn. You know,
Yeah. He's got a
he's got
little
a
bit of
side
a
where he could probably be
yeah.
pretty.
I know,
But
and
not to
of
this
course
little
DM
boy.
still owes him up too,
Oh
like
my god, when
which
he
Oh
reminded her, I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh no, he
I know.
remembers."
I know. I really do think that's gonna be a problem in the future still.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
DM finally manages to turn her crown off, which again, I love that it's like a switch in her body is how
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
like
She like
describes
essentially
that.
like mind forces it down into her chest.
I know. It was interesting to read how that went. We meet up with Cordelia or Dell in this moment because at this point they're kind of friends. And she's by a boat and she is helping DM escape, but of course the Guardians cannot know that. And we find out that Fortos rejected the offer to trade DM for Orly, so that's why she is getting broken out. Breck, of course, now has to go join another cell because everyone will know that he helped her
Mm.
escape, which I felt a little bad for him in that regard, but he hadn't really found his place at this camp.
Mm.
And then we find out Cordelia and Orly has similar ideas to DM about working with the Descended. They're trying to be more strategic, and she's hoping DM can go free her mom and then get her and Teller to a camp in Montios. DM trying to sail away in this boat, y'all.
What do you think was making it not go the way it needed to go?
I'm
O only
not
thing in my
sure.
mind is Luther. The fact that Luther was back at the camp. That's the only thing I
Yeah,
could think
but
of.
like
That
I
like
feel
there's
like one of the
some force
kindred or something would have to be
That's what I was
later,
thinking.
like
yeah,
Lumnos
interfering.
There
was
was
Well,
like fate
because
was
it
bringing
was
them back that way or something like that. It was weird.
well, and there were many elements involved in bringing her back. It was like the wind, it was the water, like
Mhm.
nothing was going right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
Mhm.
sure if there were multiple things in play here, but
Yeah, and it's not like she didn't know, like, how she wasn't an expert, but of course,
she like had the general idea on how to
Andre
sail.
had showed her and Henry how to do it. So she had an idea. So it's yeah.
No, it was like the elements were truly against her leaving
Mhm.
and they dumped her out of the boat. Which that was funny. And of course the Guardians see the boat and she has to sneak back up into the camp. well, she was really hoping to get some horses, but what happens is she ends up having to go all the way back to the camp, and she goes to grab a weapon, and bum bum bum, we hear Luther. What the fuck? I feel like he actually made it back relatively quick, considering.
They say over a week goes by between that, because it
felt
says at
fast.
one point, like, over the next week is when she acted like she had narcolepsy.
That's right.
That's why it went so fast. She was just napping that whole time.
Yeah, she was just napping.
It feels like that sometimes, you guys. That's the best kind of nap, though.
It really is. And so DM freaks out because then all of a sudden she has a hand clamped over her mouth, and thank God Taryn is there. I loved that he was like, Queenie, man, you put up quite a fight. I love him calling her Queenie. It is just my favorite.
Yeah.
Their relationship, I will love her forever.
Mm-hmm.
So Luther essentially had turned himself in to try and get tied up next to DM, which do you think they would actually tie these two to the same fucking tree? Sometimes the two of them,
he's thinking with his heart and not with his brain.
Well thought out plans need to have.
At least it's not his dick.
I love that they're like Taryn and
Alex.
It's Alex. Plan was to like break them out, but that was it. Like they really had no rhyme or reason to how they were going to do that. And I was like, y'all getting buck ass wild.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
None of you have a plan to any of this. You're all just winging it, which I mean, sometimes it just be like that. I was like, you think you would have thought this out a little bit.
No, Luther is out of control.
They're like, we're descended, and it's like, okay, but you're essentially mortal right now. I mean, yeah, your skin can't be pierced by certain things, but they got all the things to pierce.
They got a club and they can knock you unconscious, though. You don't need Godstone to give them concussions.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, I can't.
I know their brains are like their skulls are supposed to be
hard as steel,
so hard.
Yes, I know. I can't with that whole thing.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah.
So we find out Taryn has had these little moments of feeling his power even over the border, which I was not surprised by this at all, y'all. I feel like as soon as that Heartstone broke, I was expecting this.
I thought that all of the borders would just be down and it'd be like straight anarchy from the beginning. So the fact that the borders were even like relatively still up, I was surprised by.
Maybe the crack.
I know. I think because it wasn't destroyed, it was just split. I think. And then like over time, it's going to get worse until, of course, foraging day. I think by then it'll be like gone. So I think we got a 3-month window still before it's all hell.
I'm curious how much I'm curious how much of her blood is needed to destroy the Heartstone, because it was a few drops, or maybe like 5 drops,
2 drops.
That
the first one like started it, and the second one is when the lightning came down. So yeah, I mean, if she just probably
it'd probably have completely ruptured the thing. Maybe I don't know.
I know, and then all that blood that Vance had. I mean, really, he could probably just take that and pour it all over there if they had known.
Does it have to be freely given, though?
No, that's just for the doors. I don't think it needs to be freely given for the Heartstone.
I doubt it for the Heartstone. I don't know if the Heartstone would be aware of. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, all of the monarchs get like that can't attend. They give their blood. It's not taken.
True, because Luther brought his uncle's blood, Luther's blood.
Okay,
could be. DM decides to grab a branch from the giant bonfire in the middle of this fucking camp. Which Luther helps
your face. You're like, I can't with this part right now.
I fucking can't. She was like, let's go back to camp when I just escaped. And then she's like, I'm gonna get a horse. And then she gets side rail, okay. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put on my hood and crawl in front of the entire group of people
and grab a branch with fire.
And just casually grab a branch and walk away and think no one's gonna think that's fucking weird.
Couldn't walk around camp. We had to walk through it.
I can't.
Again, their well thought out plans kind of hurt me a little bit. And of course, a guy sees her, and a homegirl decides to grab two of the bombs in this bomb pile. So,
Mhm.
and then throw them into the tree line when she lights them. And Cordelia does see her do this. So I'm sure it's now Cordelia again instead of Dell to DM. But yeah, throws these moms. I love that when Diem and Luther finally get together, they decide this is the moment they need to kiss. Not get out of there, not save themselves. Let's have a quick passionate make out. Oh shit, an arrow almost hit us. Maybe we should do something else. I
I
cannot.
know.
And then Diem protects Luther and kills a mortal, which
Oh, yeah.
very sad. I did you guys she got sliced by the Godstone blade in this moment, correct? Like
No.
she didn't I
Yeah.
thought she had gotten like some sort of
Mhm.
slice of it like on her abdomen that they played off like she was fine. And it was like
No,
a really small moment, but I thought it was got like the actual Godstone blade and she was like, "No, I'm fine," and like nothing ever came of it.
I think it just sliced through her
Clothes.
outfit, but
Yeah.
not
It
to
was just her
her.
outfit, it wasn't through her. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Because I
sh
really just don't think it'll do anything to her regardless of this fact, but
and it
I
seemed
don't
like it was an accident. I don't feel like I mean, yes, she
Oh,
went
what
and tried to
killing
defend. Yeah.
killing the mortal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he, like,
'Cause
jumped on her and she was like, "Oh, my
yeah.
blade's through your belly. Oops."
Mhm.
I know, but she still felt so guilty. Again, she has such a intense guilt complex.
Yeah.
But DM Luther, Alex, and Taryn all managed to run away and hide in this giant tree, which I really want to see all these trees. Like,
I had a hard time picturing this because at first I was picturing, like, a little hollow, you know? And then when, like, Luther and DM start getting kinda hot and heavy, I was like, "Are they, like, right next door to them? Like, this is awkward." And then I reread it and it said that they were, like, essentially on the other side.
yeah, no,
And
this
then I
tree
had
had
to
to be
expand it in
massive.
my mind
Yeah.
Like a
because they were,
redwood
like, fully
forest or
laying down
something.
in there. Yeah.
Correct, because initially when they got in there, I was picturing something much smaller and them all in this tight little round
Yeah.
thing, and then, yes, as she continued to describe it, I was like, "Wait, no, not big enough.
Yeah.
They're
It's gotta be,
laying
like,
down in
room
here."
size.
Correct. Mhm. No, I did the same thing, I had to readjust my visual a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Luther's fucking pissed at DM for sending him away with Sarai and the whole blocking the sword from hitting him. She just has to protect him just like he protects her, and he does not appreciate it. We do find out that Teller is safe. Luther's helping keep him safe, and DM shares that she knows her mom's in prison and isn't mad at him for keeping his secret. She understands it now. And that's pretty much all they say in this moment because later they will talk in private without, Taryn and Alex listening in. I do love that Alex and DM have a heart to heart in this little tree stump.
Mhm.
She makes the comment that you're a credit to your father, which I really loved. I love her character. I think she has so many good moments in this whole book.
Mhm.
Alex explains that she respects Deem's desire to save the mortals and that, her visiting the mortal city really changed her outlook on a lot of things. And she wants to create change. She wants the mortals to be a part of the royal guard and help
Mhm.
protect Lumno City and in their own city. And I just loved that really rocked her world and she wanted to do better.
Mhm.
So again, I love her. And then they do have a quick little convo about the importance of titles again.
Mhm.
I like that
Because
conversation that she had. I'm like, it kinda
Mhm.
helped me understand what it was all about too,
yes.
so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
because we're very like, yeah, whatever titles. And she was like, no, there is like importance in it. Own your title, make it a weapon on its own. They need to understand what that weight carries.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so it seems like it's starting to shift her view on that a little bit, which I appreciated.
Mhm.
Luther discovers Diem is freezing and helps undress her from her wet clothes. And then he dresses her in his clothes and cuddles her to sleep, which they finally had gotten some decent sleep. Her fake napping was not apparently doing it for her. I love the next morning when Alex and Taryn are bickering about waking up the two lovebirds. Taryn very much wants to wake them up, and Alex is like, no, let them sleep. They haven't been sleeping. Meanwhile, both Luther and Diem are hearing this and finally take this as their opportunity to talk in private. So we get a lot of information in this moment, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Luther finally just explains that he met Arlie when she became the palace healer. So it wasn't even sooner than that because we kept hypothesizing when that would have occurred. He said he knew she was leader of the Guardians, even when she started. Luther went to her with a half-mortal child who had been wounded, and that's kind of what started their whole working together to help get the half-mortal children located to a safer place. And then Luther also gave food and medicine to families or healers as needed. He said they were never really friends, but they worked together to save a lot of people, which I appreciated that because I didn't really picture them being friends. So if I think he had said they were, I would have been like, really? Arlie did take advantage of the freedom that Luther gave her by wandering the palace.
Just like
And
her
she,
daughter.
honestly, but she overheard a conversation that Luther was having with his dad about the fact he's half mortal. And that's how she actually found out his secret. That was not volunteered information. Luther said he didn't object with what she had been doing because she wasn't violent the way Vance has obviously been. Arlie did tell Luther never to come around her daughter, which I loved. And I loved that he was just like, I mean, makes sense because we're hot. Like, he thought it was like, he thought nothing of it, really, other than like, oh yeah, she might succumb to me. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my
Sorry,
gosh.
we're so desirable that
yeah. And
all of
Diem even
these
makes the conversation
humans
like, oh,
want us descended men.
yeah. She was like, God forbid that happen. And I was like, I died. I really could not. Uh, so Luther got Arlie on the island when he transported Ulther's blood there for Foraging Day. He was unaware of the real plans for the island. He was just under the impression she was going to collect some flame root, which, mind you, he didn't really know that's even quite what was happening. Diem confesses that she helped the Guardians. Luther obviously already knew that because she was not hiding that well. And then, thank God, this is when we find out that blood has to be given willingly to
Mhm.
open the
Yep.
palace blood locks. Thank God. The amount of times he was like, did you give it of your free will? And she's like, well, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, just say yes or no. Like, that's
Yeah. Girlfriend just
No,
doesn't get it
they
sometimes.
had to stab me all over the place to get this. They
I
basically
know.
beat the
She was
shit out
like
of me.
going into it. He's like, just tell me if it was willing or not.
Yeah.
I can't. Luther is in awe of Diem's compassion because, of course, she was kind of explaining that she still wants to protect the mortals. Like, she really isn't looking for this crazy war, even though it's going to happen anyway. He makes several comments here that I loved. He was like, don't you dare mistake compassion for lack of courage. And then anyone can slaughter their enemies. Hate is easy. It's mercy that requires greater strength. I'll be damned if I let you believe that beautiful heart of yours is a weakness. Trust your instincts, my queen. Above all else, trust yourself. I just love, he has seriously some of the best lines through this
Mhm.
whole book. Many, many times. You're going to have many quotes from him for me because I just love him. And again, he just has a way with words.
Yeah, he
Just
does.
Taryn, of course, finally bursts in because he's not a patient man.
I'm
Terror.
picturing like a little puppy. The whole time he's like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna go in,
No.
I'm gonna go in. And she's like, no, you can't go in. He's like,
And he finally is like,
I
I'm
want to
going.
go.
I'm doing it.
But I just love because they're still like all cuddled up laying on the ground. And his first comment is, "You know, Queenie, it's a lot easier to," and then he makes some obscene gesture with his hands, which I love because this feels very him. And he says, "If you both take your clothes off instead of putting each other's clothes on."
Oh my god, he's
I
hilarious.
could die.
The amount of
I love
times
him
he
so
tells them
much.
in this story already and just halfway through that they need to fucking get it over with is
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah, well, and then I love that he offers to be a third, which is funnier now knowing that
That was so
he's gay.
funny.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it makes it so much better. DM does tease Luther for the amount of times he has seen her naked, because again, it has like I really
Many,
should have done a
many,
count
many
because it's
times.
been
It's
many,
been
many
many
times.
times.
Yeah.
And so he says, "DM, when you and I finally get a night alone together, looking will be the least of what I do to you." And I was just like,
I know, I thought that. I
yes.
was like, "Ooh,
Oh, I know. I was
tell
like,
me
okay,
more."
okay. I know. Again, him and his liners. I can't. I love that in their spare time from hiding from the Guardians, they
I was like, "Why
decide that
are we hiding? Why are we not going?" This drove
I
me crazy. I was like, "What the
I
fuck are we
agree.
doing?"
But don't worry, they spend time learning how to forage, hunt fish, how to make some basic first aid supplies, how to start a fire without magic, which is a cute moment, don't get me wrong, but felt misplaced a little bit. Also, I love that we have a moment where Luther and Taryn brawl with their shirts off, and they're just talking about how much money could be made if they had people
I
clean up.
love that part.
I loved that so much. She's like, "Do you think they would do that for me if I actually needed money?" And she was like, "Yeah, they would."
Yeah.
Can I come? Can I watch?
Yeah,
I
"I'll
just
pay.
wanna watch
What?"
Taryn because I feel like Luther would be so serious in this, and Taryn would, like, be semi-serious, but he knows it's just a game, he's not like you can't
Yeah.
yeah, oh my gosh. Such a fun show, I think.
I kind of pictured them as like Reese and Cassian a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
where it's like you've got your big bear goofy one and then you've got your
Yes.
like really serious, like
Yes.
always put together one.
Yep, 100%.
Except
I
for
agree with that.
when their mate is all in danger and then they just can't figure out how
And
to
then they get
walk.
ragey in general. Yeah, I know. Can't do anything.
I know.
Um, we do find out that Lumnos is rather unchanged since she got taken. People just think she's recovering in the palace, which is
She's
interesting.
recovering, but not in the
I
palace,
mean, she's recovering, just not in the palace.
and in hiding, and in
Fucking Remus is up to something not good because Fortos has sent a very high number of soldiers there to help discourage
Mhm.
violence, which I'm just curious what that really is about.
Mhm.
I'm also pissed off that Eleanor isn't the one that's the regent because he didn't hear
yeah.
it from Diem's mouth that that's what her I was like, "Fuck you. I can't with
I
you."
know, and at this
Mhm.
point, Eleanor has more magic than he does. Like, he's got none because of the
No, he
bond.
doesn't have any.
So maybe that's why
True.
all those people are there is because he can't fucking do
Maybe,
shit. He can't.
That is
maybe
true.
He
he's
needs
trying
the
trying to protect
protection.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be right. Um, so we find out Eamon's still kind of this like wishy-washy type character. He hasn't really helped the group, but he hasn't gotten in their way. So we'll see what side he ends up picking, I
Oh my
think long
gosh.
term. I hope it's not bad, but we'll see.
I feel like
I
it's just
just
gonna be
Um
not bad. I have yucky feelings for him. I don't like him, but I really do feel like in the end he's gonna have been like on Team Demon
yeah,
the whole
cuz
time.
yeah, I think
yeah,
he's gonna make the right choice in the end.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think that's kind of the what they're setting up for him.
Mhm.
We also find out Teller knows about their mom and is processing that whole set of feelings.
Mhm.
Um, the group finally discusses that all their magic has been coming back periodically at random.
I think it's so
Um,
weird that no one said, "Oh my god, can you guys feel your like no one talked about it except for right at that point. Like,
they took a long ass time to talk
yeah.
about it.
What
I agree. I agree. We find out, because Taryn makes a little pop-off remark about the compass, and Luther's like, "Oh shit, here we go. Now I have to explain how I really got here," which, again, why DM didn't question that maybe a little more.
Why would he not want to have shared that with her? Like, you are what my
I know,
heart
he was like I think
wants.
it was just a vulnerable moment, I think is really what it, is, and he's not a very vulnerable person,
But he's already expressed to her
obviously.
so many fucking times that you are it for me. Like, I am gonna serve you.
I
I my
know, but I think it's different to have it, like, confirmed in that way, like,
Oh.
"You are
Like,
my
above
true heart's desire above
above
all
all
else."
else. I think he didn't wanna overwhelm her is what it was. I don't think he's
Mm,
he's not embarrassed by it or anything like that. I think he just didn't wanna overwhelm her and have
yeah,
And
her
scare
run
her off,
away.
yeah.
that makes sense
I can
then.
see that. Yeah, so we find out that's how he found her,
Love
and
it.
DM confesses her desire for him too, which thank God she reciprocates to some degree. And they are making out all nice and hot and heavy because, of course, Alex and Taryn have to walk away because he's mad about him revealing the whole compass situation. And they're just like making out when all of a sudden Taryn comes out surrounded by all these guys.
My
And like,
gosh.
I don't know how you guys were picturing this moment, but I was picturing because he had lifted her, right?
She was, like,
I
straddled around him.
Correct,
Yeah.
and I was just picturing they remained like that while they were scoping, and the
Yes,
whisper that's kind of the impression I got, and I was like, "This is really funny in my brain, them just being
because
surrounded while,
well, and it
literally."
wasn't, Vance is the one who told Luther to put her down.
That's right,
They
that's right.
they
Yeah.
stayed like that, and I think Luther's back was to them because
Yes,
she
because they were
says
just
over his shoulder, like, he's like, "Is it Guardians?" And she's like, "Yes." And
Mhm.
then Vance is like, "Put her down." So it's
I
like,
just loved it. I just thought it was a really funny thing to picture. Of course, Vance is a fucking asshole and makes a lot of comments about DM whoring herself out to a descended, which I could not. I could not with him.
Mm-mm.
mm,
Taryn learns about Diem's involvement with the Guardians,
Oh,
which
yeah.
that was very sad.
mhm,
Taryn gets cut by a Godstone weapon twice, really. He gets cut once, and then he's like, "Well, fuck it, I already been cut by a Godstone weapon." And then I think he
mhm,
gets an arrow in his shoulder or something. Isn't that
I
what
mhm,
think
happens? And
so.
then he just yanks it out because he's a badass. Alex was able to temporarily use her power to make
Oh, yeah.
herself and DM invisible. That lasts very briefly. So they run off and they cross the border into Igneos. DM is very upset that they left Luther and Taryn behind, but Alex will do what she's got to do to protect her. And she's explaining that mortals will not cross the border, which we're not entirely sure why yet. We
mhm,
will hear in a second. But
Mhm.
Luther and Taryn finally make their way across the border as well. Thank God. Everything is hopefully fine. DM lies to Taryn and says he isn't actually dying. He very much is at this point.
mhm.
And then Immortal decides to get ballsy with it and get close to the border, and he literally gets lit aflame and bye bye.
Mhm.
I
Like,
was like,
instant.
what? Yes. I was like, that's fucking insane. Like,
Mhm.
no wonder they don't want to cross this border.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we kind of see Luther kind of retreat back into himself again. And I immediately felt something was off. I was like, shit happened. I don't know what happened, but shit happened, which we'll get to.
I did not think it wasn't until a
Felt it all the way
little
through.
bit later that I got like I was like, "Uh-oh." But during this time, I really thought that he was just, like, very upset about Taryn.
I thought that, and that he was still like, I don't know, like he was upset that the whole situation happened and then DM's life was in danger again because he gets so mad whenever she sends him away, kind of
See,
Mhm.
thing.
and I felt there was enough of a personality switch in this moment towards her that I was like, no. Like, I really thought something had happened already. And it was funny because I text Veronica, mind you, a lot later. I was not at this point. And I was like, you know what happened, right? And again, at this point, I hadn't had it confirmed what had happened. And she was like, I mean, no. And I was like, bitch, you don't know what happened. You really don't know what happened.
I'm like, no. This is what I'm telling you guys. When I'm not having to write or think about a book, I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, that's really sad that they're not getting along, and I wonder why. Like, but I don't look for the reasons. I am really enjoying this book page by page. I don't go backwards. I don't go forwards. I don't try to skip a few lines to see what the next person says. I am really just trying to enjoy the feelings. And I'm like, when she said that, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Yeah.
She finally connected the dots. And of course, again, I had been taking notes. For me, those clues felt really early
Yeah.
because I am having to really piece through and not reread a whole section, but reskim a whole section. And I was like, fuck, it happened here. I'm fairly confident.
Yeah.
Literally, I told her, I was like, I think it happened when they had that encounter. And she was like, God damn. And we'll obviously get that confirmed here later. But I was like,
Yeah.
shit, I put that one together fast. I was
I
ready.
think I once they got to Mortal City in Igneos
Yeah.
is when I was starting to get a hunch, and then I was certain when they were walking on the beach and he was walking 10 feet behind him. And I was like, oh yeah,
With a
no.
scarf? Did he have a scarf on by then?
No, that didn't
The
happen
amount of
until they were
times
in
he had a
Umbros.
fucking scarf on, I could not. I point out many of them, don't worry. I could not. The amount of clues she drops killed me.
Yeah. Just sitting
I'll
here
Um,
in
get to that
my
later.
ignorance.
I have big feelings about
uh,
this,
agreed.
but we'll get to that later.
Agreed. Luther and Alex both know that Diem is lying to Taryn, which again, I feel like Taryn really didn't believe it for the most part. He's just like giving her the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But they make the trek across the desert to the coast where the abandoned mortal city lays in Igneos. This whole situation was very sad. There are
Mhm.
skeletons everywhere. They find weapons just scattered all over the place. The only food really that's available is some ripe kumquats on some trees. Otherwise, all the other food is expired. They all agree they don't want to get caught or talk with the king of Igneos. She had gotten kind of bad vibes when she had originally met him.
Mhm.
Well, not
And
even
they
that, but
don't feel like
anytime that you're in someone else's kingdom as a queen or a king, that's
they
like
have
an
the
act of
right to.
war or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
another reason.
Taryn finally confronts Diem about being a guardian because he was very hurt about it. And then Luther's like, I helped the Guardians more than she probably even did. So
He really
like
just
you're
took
gonna
the
be
brunt of that. He just like, nope, don't even talk to her about it. Like, I did way worse.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
I
he did.
know. He was very ready to own up to that. And so of course Taryn's like, well, if I'm not dying, I'm gonna be pissed at both of you. Which
because
again, I
Dean
just
says
love.
I'm not dying. But
Even though I think that's a lie, I'm gonna
Yeah.
storm out and be mad for a second. Alex is much more understanding. Again, she's already kind of seeing more of what's going on with the mortals and kind of understands where Diem was coming from because that's how she was raised. Like she was raised in that environment. Of course, she's gonna want to help them out. So again, I just love her. I think I love her so much because I see so much of myself in her. If I was going to, aside from being a badass warrior, I am not, but like just seeing people's points of views, like I really relate to her. I feel like I'm very understanding of that. And
I
so
can see
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's why I like her character so much. But
Yeah.
I'm not a badass warrior, guys. So not relating to her in that way.
Did you get the feeling that maybe this mortal city was taken out by a Gryvern? Because everything was very like they were running up the hill. I know Henry says they were all led out, but they were like literally running up the hill on their skeletons. There's skeletons all over the place in throughout the city, and then everything was just left and like dropped as if people were fleeing like in the middle of doing things, and because everything's burned makes me think that it was a
But isn't
Gryvern.
that their power in Igneos anyway? Isn't that what the descended power is? Because that's
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
I really just felt like the Descendant went like, I mean, it could have been a Gryvern by all means, definitely
Yeah.
could have. But I also feel like Descendant just went through and fucking lit it up with their power, and everyone
Yeah.
died that way.
See, and I thought
That's
maybe it could
true.
like it was like a curse or something. Like there's something that happened in Igneos,
Oh,
like
I
part of one of their
I
things.
think
I don't
the
know.
I
king
was
very much
waiting for, like,
appreciated
some
that.
fucking sea desert dragon shit to come out, not like a Gryvern, like some kind of creature,
Yeah.
because
Like
it was,
one of
like,
those
very ghost.
sandworm things, like from the
Yeah, it was, like,
Dune.
very ghost
Yeah.
towny, and I was like, "Some took their asses all out, and it's still there." So they're,
Yeah.
like, bathing, and I'm like, "It's gonna get them. It's gonna get them while they're taking a bath." The whole
No,
time, I was
I
waiting for something.
really I thought it was the king that had some sort of
Mm,
King's a
play
dick.
into
The
that.
king is such an
This
asshole.
king is
big asshole.
fucking horrible. Of course, Alex, I'm gonna keep butchering that, I'm sorry, guys, and DM hear what sounds like drums off in the distance, and of course, that is a Gryvern coming their way, so they hide in this outdoor storage pin situation. And the Igneos Gryvern, the king of Igneos, and two women, which they seem to be some sort of army type,
Mhm.
all arrive and they're trying to find the group. The king can sense those that don't belong, and strangely, DM feels different from other crowns because it still feels like she belongs somehow, which I was like, of course she does.
Of course she
Um,
does.
Yeah, he's like, "Why do you feel like you're one of mine?"
When he says it's like she's shattering, like, the way he described it was so interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and I love I love that the Gryvern realizes where Diem is at because, of course, she makes a comment about how the Igneous King is treating his Gryvern, which is fucking horrible. That really pissed me off because I just love the Gryverns. But I loved him a lot. He seems so like angry sad. He's been mistreated for so fucking long,
Mhm.
and
He
I
can't do anything
love
about it. He's so sad. He's
I know,
miserable.
but he does his best because he doesn't obviously tell the king where they're hiding because he does realize where they're at, and then as the king gets close to their hiding spot, the Gryvern tells the king that the group took off into the dune, so he is able to lie to him, he just can't disobey him, which I was like, "Well, love a loophole."
Mhm.
And so they all take back off because they plan on returning the next day with more guards to lay out their search party. But they were unsuccessful in finding anyone. Thank God. But Diem was terrified that one of the many buildings he did blow up with fire may have had Luther or Terran in it. And thankfully, that was not the case. They were hiding in this cellar.
Yeah.
Luther just realizes how panicked Diem was about him dying, which I'm sure now looking back, probably like was even
Yeah.
sadder now that than I
Yeah.
even realized, like, because he's like, "Oh, shit, she gonna
Yeah.
be real sad when I
Yeah.
actually really die." So, now their plan is to get to Umbros because why not keep going? Just make the
Mhm.
make the loop at this point.
Yep.
I told you guys. I
Um,
told you.
Yeah.
you
I
really did.
I was like, at some point, she's gonna have to go through every single one.
Yep.
And I like how, I mean, it's, like, way later, but Luther's like, "You should just go step your foot over that border,"
He sure did.
for whatever her last one is. She's like, "Why?" He's like, "Just
Hmm.
a hunch."
Now they're walking along the coast to try and get to Umbros because that's the shortest route. Um, well, I guess they're not walking yet. They're staying the night. And DM has this secret plan, which I just cannot with her. To make a distraction, cross back into Arboros to get food and herbs to help out Taryn. The length she goes through to actually get all of this is just comical. Luther's obviously very pissed, which makes more sense now, just like why he's so pissed, aside from her putting her life in danger all the time. Alex is hurt because she just wants Diem's trust. And so that's more why she was hurt, which I mean, that one just hurts me a little bit.
Mhm.
But Diem gets stuff to create a cell for Taryn. Y'all, the convenience with her accidentally slicing herself and dropping her blood into the salve. I was like, this salve's doing jack shit.
But did she
Yes.
know? Did she know that she dropped blood in there?
No, she's
Yes.
not thinking about, well, she
Well,
knows
she
that
knew
she did,
she
but
did,
she's
but she
not
didn't
thinking
realize.
about it now.
Correct.
But okay, hold on. Hold on. If I were making a salve for somebody and I cut myself, I would, and my blood went into it, I don't think I'd give it to somebody.
She makes a comment about not
She
having
didn't have
enough
enough to go
to
back.
waste it.
Oh.
So she does her best to try and remove most of it, but I mean, she clearly did
She
not
should have
remove all of
left
it, 'cause
it, is
let's
what
be
you're
real.
saying?
No.
Yeah, probably would have healed even faster, but of
Yep.
course I say no foreshadowing here. Because again, it's clearly her blood that was the healer, not the fucking salve.
I
But
don't know, but the
Um,
way that Luther's like intent and watching how she does everything,
mhm.
and the only
I
I
he
know, and he's
missed
like,
that
"Why
part,
isn't this
though.
salve
I think
why
he
is
missed
this
that
salve
part.
not working for me?" What?
But
Yeah, the blood. Clearly he missed the blood part.
yeah.
He wasn't
if
adding her blood in
you
there.
if you can just use your powers and bring someone
I
basically
know.
back to life, why the fuck do you even need your blood in this salve? Why
I
can't you
know.
just
Heal
heal
them.
him?
And you
I
probably
know.
still had the same amount of freaking flame root in your, no, you had, I don't know. But either way, if you can save Lily from dying.
Oh, yeah, the amount of time
Anger.
it takes for this flame root to work its way out of her system again. I know they gave her a bunch before she was supposed to get on the boat, but the amount of time it takes for it to leave her system again. I feel like there's no rhyme or reason to how long it takes. She just like conveniently takes whatever amount of time it needs to, and it drives me nuts.
She
Wha
should have her fucking healer's license taken away.
Yeah.
Oh, my healer instincts are whatever all the time. Oh, the second Taryn gets like slightly sweaty and pale, she's like, "Oh no!" Instantly, the
Meanwhile,
person
Luther is like,
you are with the most, you
Yeah.
"I
don't
know."
notice. You're touching him all the
See,
time, and he's fucking hot.
it's so
I
funny
can't.
how in the first book we're like, oh my gosh, I commend her on her healers, like all of the things that she does, and now we're like, really, really,
You
DM, like
stupid
you didn't
head.
see this the whole time.
I feel so much rage towards her about this. It's, like, not
Yeah,
even funny. I'm like, "How the fuck did you not know?"
I know. I agree. Because again, by the time she does realize, I'm like, girl,
It's too
Like,
late.
it's
her head
embarrassing you have not
was
realized.
so far in the sand. Again,
Yeah,
I'm
she
gonna make
does
a
like to do
shirt,
that.
DM Bellator, head in the sand, and that's just where she likes to stay for fucking ever.
I like it. I think it's funny. Um,
Anger.
DM only tells Taryn just what all she went through to go get this stuff. And the fact her ass went through the ocean butt ass naked. And then she salvaged for these things again, butt
Butt
ass
ass
naked.
naked.
Had me cackling so hard. And then of course the fact she almost got caught cuz she sneezed. The whole quick little story she tells him I could not. I
Yeah.
get why she didn't want to tell the rest of the group cuz
Yeah.
that was just Taryn would be the one she tells.
Yeah.
So they get this salve on, and now they're making their trek to Umbros. And DM is getting weirdly hot while everyone else is cold. And we pretty quickly find out that Taryn's wound is actually healing, which is wonderful. And he conveniently gets his power back as they see these three random guards in their path. Of course, you're supposed to walk along this certain path if you're going through Igneos, and they're not. So um they're like, let's confront the guards, let's try not to kill them, according to DM. And his powers conveniently disappear right as they approach the guards, um,
Of course.
which I was not surprised by. But Taryn manages to charm his way past the guards by joking about killing mortals and about the freaking two mates in the group that
The
just like
new
can't keep
mates.
their hands off. I I just love him because he's so good in this moment. And DM's just like, what? And he's just like playing it off so well. And I was like, oh my God, the cute little teddy bear giant man can play it off like
Mhm.
nobody's business. And then they manage to get past the guards. And Diem literally feels like she's on fire.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
going to burn, which I was like, of course, they've barely made it past these fucking guards, and this is when her goddamn powers are gonna kick in. God damn it.
Yep.
I could not get over her just like stripping because she needed
She's
to
like, I
have like
can't.
clothes on.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
She's like, I'm so hot. I can't. And she gets all the way to the ocean, and the water's literally evaporating around her.
Can you
And
imagine?
then she fucking burns, and this was another really epic
Mhm.
moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anytime she has an insane release of her powers, I'm just like, I could read it over and over again because it's
Mhm.
just described so well.
Yep.
Um, Luther manages to make his way to her, and they both actually, I mean, I know she was stripping. She did have some clothes on still. They both have clothes on. They're not completely naked this time.
Yeah.
So he's impressed that she has
More control.
made
Mhm.
some control with her powers. Not shockingly, the guards see this display because I'm just picturing this giant fucking fire around her. Like,
Yeah.
Bonfire of
how
a person.
correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Mhm.
And so they cast a fire of their own, which of course alerts the king. Alex takes off with Terran because that's what her and Diem had made an agreement on to get themselves across the border. And of course, Luther stays with Diem. The king arrives and knows that Diem wielded the igneous flame. So we have a really strong confirmation that she can wield all the powers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just stronger when she's in that area or if that's like what's unleashing that power. Because we had talked about like, because I feel like she's wielded them before, but it seems so much stronger when she's actually
Yes.
in that
Mhm.
That
land.
Terramir in her is stronger, I
Mhm.
feel like, wherever she's
Correct.
at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I think she can use all of them anywhere, but it seems to be like her strongest one when she's
Mhm.
in that
Or
area.
maybe she just needs to make a
Um,
connection with the land first in order for it to all become
exact
truly
correct.
powerful.
I'm
Mhm.
not sure what the situation there is yet. They do attack Luther and Diem. Diem is shielding him, and then she realizes because again she's still working her way through this stupid flame root powder and her shield is about to go out, so she blocks him with her body, which bold ass move. And this is like reinvigorating her magic, which
Yes.
I loved this
Yes.
concept.
Mhm.
I think that's so cool.
Mhm.
Love how that continues to play out through this half. And then they fight with swords for a while. They're doing this, I feel like, back to back sword fight situation.
Yep.
And then she distractedly sends out a blinding light. And of course, they don't get very far because the king just blocks their path, which I was like, again, their plans. But Diem appears to communicate with the Igneous Gryvern,
Yeah.
and like basically tells him to take the king away, which he does,
Mhm.
and I love that. I hope she can override
Yeah.
at least. And especially in these cases where the owner and Gryvern don't get along, I'm hoping she
Yeah.
can truly override it. I don't know if that would really, I know we haven't got there yet, but with the like Umbros Gryvern, like they actually have a positive, I don't know that she would be able to really override that one so much, but I hope that's at least a potential for her because I love
Mhm.
the way she bonds with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
She does shield Luther's body once again with her own and takes a Fortison steel blade to the chest
Hmm.
to protect Luther, even though he's secretly dying. So she's laying there dying, and the Igneous King is like making this whole plan. She's like laying there
I
to
know.
kill them both, burn the body so no one knows what happened.
Yeah.
And Diem's trying to tell Luther, like, hey, use your magic, because clearly he currently is connected to his magic. And so she finally managed to say your magic, and Luther goes shadow daddy
He sure
big
does.
Oh
time.
He
my
sure
god.
This
does.
is ugh,
I
this
loved this.
Yeah.
so fucking good because this is the first time we've really seen him unleash.
Mhm.
Before he's been pretty in control, and this time he's like ready to fucking destroy all of them because he thinks his woman is dying.
Mhm.
And so she finally gets to see the depths of his power, but DM still tells him mercy because he's about to fuck up the king, which I loved seeing how much more powerful he was
Yes.
than
Mhm.
him.
Oh my god.
I was
Like,
like,
so
yes,
much more powerful than their king.
correct.
Wasn't the
Like
king
with
kind of
ease.
surprised how much more powerful he
Mhm.
was too? It wasn't just like
Mhm.
you barely got one on me. No, like we fucking
No.
powerful.
I'm gonna die
Yeah.
if this goes on for
Yeah.
much longer. Yes.
And
Yep.
Luther was freaking
Um,
raging.
yeah, but Dia manages to tell him mercy, and so he does not kill the king, and that's when the Gryburn takes him away. Dia manages in her state of dying to tell Luther to attack her, which of course he's just like, "What the fuck would I do that for?" And then it finally like clicks and he gradually starts to attack her and then he realizes it's helping and then he goes fucking at her with his shadows and I was like, "Yes!"
You
And
know
then
what?
she's
Mhm.
healing.
Yes.
So good. So good. This
Because
moment.
she knows that everyone's power reinvigorates her, and he's
Mhm.
so
Yes.
fucking
But
powerful.
that's what I'm saying. I love that concept so much. I just
Yeah.
think
Yep.
that is such a cool like not only does she have all the powers, but like it is other people's magic that really sustains her
Yes.
and does not hurt her. Like
Yes.
I
Well,
love
and the
that.
same in Umbros, I didn't even think of how that would work
Mhm.
until it was needed, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I
Uh-huh.
forgot that all 100 of these people coming at you at once
Yeah.
would
Help you.
regenerate you like
Mhm.
that."
Mhm. I
Really,
yeah, I was gonna say that moment's very epic also. Can't wait to get to that one
no one
as
can
well.
hurt her. I mean, like, yes, they can still like use mind powers and like seek into her brain and like whatever, let her see vision. But like
But
no one
can
can
they?
They can't
n-
really.
until she figures out how to do her shield.
Yeah.
She still has some figuring out stuff to do. But
Yeah.
like
I know, but like I
But
mean,
it's actual
mhm.
physical things that are
Yes.
going to be the only
correct.
thing. Blades
Mhm.
Yeah.
are gonna be the only
Apparently
thing.
a wooden club's the answer.
Contusions, that's about it.
Still can't. I can't with
Has a little
that.
1-2 knock around the head.
That's it. That's all it takes. Taryn and Alex come back. Taryn did not realize that was the plan, and he, of course, tells Luther that, and Luther's like, "Of course, I know you wouldn't take off."
He's
um,
so fucking mad at Alix, though.
Yeah.
I love
Big
he.
mad at her.
I was gonna say he gets very mad.
And he's not just
Yeah.
mad, he like keeps poking at it. He's like, "No, you fucked up. No, you
Yeah.
fucked up." And I'm like, "Damn, calm the fuck down." Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
call
know he's
yourself
pretty intense about it.
my
Yeah.
second or whatever, like,
Yeah.
I know.
It was bad.
So so good. But they do manage to get across the border. So we have
Yay.
officially made it to Umbros and we have made it to part 2 of this book cuz this book is broken up into 3 parts. So we made it to part 2 which of course makes sense. We started in a new location.
mm,
So we have made it to Umbros. We've got mortals and descended all living up
mhm,
amongst each other. It's very like underground city esque
Yeah.
vibe.
yeah, it's like in a cave.
So it's very like it's very different going from each like
Mhm.
realm to realm because
Mhm,
they really differ in how they are set up
mhm,
across the board. But it kind of has a lot of icky vibe in a lot of way too because there's a lot of nefarious type activities I feel like that run rampant in certain areas here.
mhm,
So Luther and Diem split up from Alex and Taryn, and they're trying to find a contact of Luther's called the Jaguar.
Mhm.
The Jaguars left clues to the city to find his whereabouts, so they are following those, and they make it to this inn called the Second Chance. I love that Luther's just like, "I'm looking for the jaguar."
Yeah, he's got no chill.
So they're like, I don't there nope, who no, don't know
"No,
who
no
that is.
jaguar here." And he's like, "No, he said he would be here. I followed the like,
Like,
for their
bud,
secret correspondence, like,
This is
he's
what
not being
sepsis does
secretive at
sepsis
all."
does to you. Your mind is just
Yeah.
that's true.
you're not
Honestly,
feeling
He's
well.
not in
we'll
his
give
right
him the
mind
benefit
at
of the
this
doubt.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm dying, let's go."
I don't got time to like
Um,
be secretive. Just tell me where they are.
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, DM feels this guy with immense power
Oh,
that
I
shows
loved
up.
this.
Yeah.
I loved this.
This whole
I did
part.
too. The way they described all of this was because I love that DM kind of flares hers up in response,
Mhm.
which we find out later was she did not really probably even need to do
No.
that,
No.
because he had already felt her. But they get taken back to this room, and I loved the children in this whole area because we find out they're half mortal children and they have this really impressive power. I really think there's something to being like
Half mortals are gonna be
half.
powerful as fuck. I think we're gonna
Yes,
find a
like
lot of very powerful half mortals.
Yeah.
I
Because
agree. Like that seems
Luther, DM, this kid,
like it seems
Jaguar.
yes, it seems to be a trend, which is funny since they outlawed it thinking that that would
But maybe they outlawed it.
help.
No, maybe they didn't want someone more powerful than them. This is like again population
Oh,
control.
this is really
They're
like
trying to
a
stay on
they
top. Hmm.
secretly knew it was
Yes.
happening.
Probably. Oh,
That
Like, they
could be
actually
that would
would
be a
be more powerful.
yeah.
yeah. 'Cause that
That's
makes more
true.
sense to me, like, trying to
That's true.
avoid a more powerful
Yeah.
um, they were so cute. Yeah, and they were making these cute little glowy flowers to light up the room,
Mhm.
and I ugh, Luther being cute with this kid destroyed my soul.
I know.
Oh, I died because he asked for a flower to give the Queen of Lumnos, and this little girl thinks that is the absolute best thing ever, and Luther tells him that they would be welcome in Lumnos, and she's just so cute, and he's so cute, and DM was just a sucker for all of it, and I was right there with him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Give me a man who,
but ugh,
adores
I
children.
know.
So
And he was
cute.
just so cute with them. I was like, because he is such a like tough exterior most of the time. He was such a softie with these kids, and I was
Yeah.
here for it.
Mhm.
Well, and that's
Um,
how he's been with all of the kids then when he
I
has
know.
gotten them out.
Mhm.
I do. I love it. So they get in this room, and DM's finally explaining to Luther that she wants to be more honest with the group in general. She's not trying to have all these secrets anymore.
Mhm.
And of course, Luther seems a little weird about it, I think, in this moment, which makes sense now. But they then realize that they've been locked into the room using this shield, and DM absorbs it. She absorbs the shield and then takes some of the power along with it, and she
Yeah.
realizes it, which I think that's going to become a
Well,
I think
major
it's
point
so
later.
cool that she's taking someone's power from something that they made. And I don't even know if it has anything to do with them or it's attached to
Correct,
them.
like, she's not even
Yeah.
touching them,
And
like, she's taking it.
she destroyed that huge shield in Lumnos.
Mhm.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, like, I imagine she could completely drain people of their powers, like,
Yeah.
till they're
Mhm.
powerless, so I think that's gonna become quite the thing later.
I
Um,
think that is also something her dad is going to be able to do.
I agree.
I think that's
I
gonna be one of the
agree.
things that makes him really, really powerful is I think that he's going to be able to take people's powers.
Mm.
Yeah, because 'cause
Oh.
we'll get to they bring up something later with her dad, which we'll get to, but I agree, I think that could be an issue.
Mhm.
So, manages to break this down. DM does suggest going to see the Umbros Queen, and Luther is absolutely adamant about not doing that and going back to Lumnos as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
And he gets really mad at, like, he has several moments where he gets super mad, but this is one of them.
Like, irrationally
Um,
mad.
correct, which again was another, I was like, boy,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Because he's lashing out and he's like, he stops with a labored breath and he's like, we don't have enough time. And of course, this is when I'm just like, motherfucker got caught.
Yeah.
He got caught.
Yep.
He's dying, everyone. Pay attention.
I still didn't know at this point.
See, and like, again, we don't have enough time. Why don't we have enough time? Really? Really?
I don't
Mhm.
We've
know.
been
I thought something was
trekking
happening
through
in
all these
Lumnos
fucking
that
realms.
they needed him to be. I don't know. I was really just enjoying it page by page.
No, I was like, he got caught. He got cut for sure.
Yep.
He's dying.
Yep.
But yeah, and then the Jaguar shows back up, which we find out is Zalaric Hanovir, which I love.
They need 2
I
drops of blood
loved.
on their. What's it called? What's that thing called?
Yep. Sure do.
I
Not just the one.
loved it.
Dirty.
Mhm.
They are dirty.
Mhm.
I know. I loved that he was a Hanovir.
And I love that he's so
and
fucking powerful.
Yep.
Ugh.
he's very powerful. I like his character. He's
Mhm.
kind of a little bit of a wishy-washy character still at this, I mean, obviously at this point. But like for the most part throughout until like maybe the very end, he kind of finally kind of picks a side, but he's very for himself
I think
pretty
you have to
consistently
be when
through
you're
this.
from Umbros anyway, like, right?
I agree.
So,
And like the way he was brought up, because we do find out a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
mhm.
I think he's going to be a very important character that is going to be 100% in the inner circle. Like, I think he's
Yeah.
going to be a forever character for the rest of this series.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
know,
be
I
a
like
part
him.
of all of it. And I can't
I-
fucking wait till he gets back to Lumnos and his fucking family sees him. And,
Oh, I
well,
agree.
they're gonna freak the fuck out. But he's so much more powerful than them.
Who do you
'Cause
think
she
his
said, like,
parent is?
I don't know. I'm very curious. That could be very messy.
yeah.
Mhm.
I
Watch
mean,
it be
it's
the
gonna be
grandma.
super messy. Yeah. No, because his mom was a
Stop
whore.
it.
His mom was a whore in Paradise Row, remember?
Oh my god, what if it's
I
what's
was
his
gonna
name's
say it's
dad?
his dad.
What if what's her face and him are like siblings?
That's what I think. Ileana and him will be
Mhm.
siblings.
I
Yeah.
want that. I want that so bad. Oh,
I
I
mean,
like it.
yeah, they're gonna freak out, but she said that his power almost rivals Luther's. Other than Luther, he is the most powerful
Yeah.
person she's like come in contact with, other than a
Mhm.
crown.
So he knows someone broke his shield and was trying to steal his power. Luther plays it off like it was him, which Zlark is very impressed by and is like, teach me your ways. And he's like, nah.
Yeah.
But he tells Alaric that him and all the half mortal children would be welcome back in Lumnos. The queen would happily take them. And Luther is trying to get passage to get back home while avoiding the centenaries, which is like basically impossible.
Mhm.
They are essentially this personal army of the queens that reads their minds and makes sure that the queen always gets a cut of whatever is being transferred out.
They're
And
the only
obviously,
actual
Descended.
Umbros descended because she
'Cause
killed
yeah.
the rest of them.
Well, because she only wanted the more powerful ones, and it wasn't like
Mhm.
a bad thing to be killed. If anything, they were like, you honored your
Yeah.
Yeah,
realm
and she
by
said she got a lot of volunteers,
yeah.
Mhm.
which that was an interesting concept. But this queen is so interesting.
But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they're getting ready to have another baby born soon. Does that mean like the oldest one dies? Because she keeps it at 100.
Maybe because she's gonna die soon. That's why she let this happen.
Oh, maybe.
I
Oh,
don't
sorry,
know.
That'd
that's
be
later
wild.
on. Sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we'll talk about it. It's fine. But yeah, that's interesting thought, actually.
But when she dies, will they
Uh,
keep it at 100 still, or were they just like, all right, let's start procreating? We love
well,
the body, you guys. Let's just make some more bodies.
yeah,
You
they're
know, sounds like her heir is gonna fuck shit up. So,
Oh my god,
agreed.
I'm
I'm
really
very curious
nervous.
who that's going to be.
Mhm.
oh god, don't be Simon.
DM decides to take a bath.
She likes her baths.
She does like her baths. Luther comes on into the room after and decides to get to exploring her body a little bit with his hands. We do point out that Luther is quite the domineering
Oh, he sure
partner.
is.
And DM makes a comment that she's normally the domineering one, but that she quite enjoys that.
Yes. That's what I'm talking
I was
about.
gonna say, this is V.
Yes.
This is the segue we needed.
Yes.
He makes a comment about there's so much more I want to give you. He breathes into my skin, sounding nearly as shaken as I was. So much more you deserve. At least I can give you this. Which again, I was like, motherfucker.
Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and she's trying to touch him, and he's like, no can do. And then this whole conversation after is very sad because she's like, well, like, are you just doing this because I'm the queen?
Oh my gosh, that
And
was
he's so
annoying.
hurt. I know. I was like, bitch, really? That's really what
Like,
you thought? I get her kind of questioning for a brief moment. Like, do you just not like
yes.
desire me? Because again, it's weird to not want to want any sort of reciprocation
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever.
Mhm.
And man, I have many liners from this because he makes
And
oh,
then because
oh,
like
he's so good in
literally
this.
he just found you by using the compass that points to what your heart most desires. And the fact that
I
you think
know.
suddenly you are not it, that I just can't. I don't understand.
She just was like, I don't understand why you don't want me to want you too. I really, and I get that. Like, you get in
Yeah.
your head, I feel like a little bit in that moment. But he says, I did not know what it was to need until I met you. One look from you, just the fucking sound of your voice, and my cock gets hard. One touch of your skin, and I can barely think beyond dragging you into the nearest bed. Every second I'm not inside you is another wasted moment of my miserable life, which God damn, if that's not a way to get in a woman's pants, I don't know what is.
Well, it's not
But
because he said
then
all that and nothing happened.
I know,
Exactly.
She's got
I
blue
know.
labia, you guys. Blue fucking labia.
Blue labia.
Oh my God. But then he makes another comment, less so about sex. And he goes, it is not just my body that craves you, DM. It is my heart. He clutched at his chest. My scarred, ruined scrap of a soul. Your smiles, your affection, the way you look at me, the way you see me, that is my lifeblood. I would sooner weather without food or water, sink into the sea until my lungs burst, abandon my magic, and let my godhood burn me alive from within than endure one more day of life without you in it.
I am crying.
Oh,
Good.
I just can't. And then this last
I
one,
love love.
he says, desire, he gave a dark, throaty laugh. Desire is a pathetic word for what I feel for you. I require you. I am sustained by you. You are the flame that fuels my fire. Don't you dare question that, not for a second.
Oh,
Oh,
look at this. Tears. Literal tears. Very well read. Thank you.
because like this whole I think it was a whole chapter.
Mm-hmm.
He is just like, I mean, just like, I'm obsessed. I love you. I desire you.
Yeah.
Everything about you.
Yep.
Like he just lays it on so so thick.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from not letting her
Yeah,
touch him.
honestly.
Yeah.
So good. And I was just getting so mad because again, I was just like, motherfucker's dying. I swear to God. This is pissing me off. And of course, even after all that, DM's still like, but why are you pulling away from me then? Like, if that's really how you feel,
Let
why
me
will you not let me touch you? God damn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
let me
so he
see your
kind of gives
chest. Let me see
her I
your body.
know.
Something.
Because it's not like she hasn't seen it before,
No.
just not recently. She moves to touch him and uses his power to snuff out all the light in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to remove his shirt, and Luther completely pulls away and once again puts the stupid fucking scarf back on. And I was like, guys.
See,
I
and
had a real ridiculous image of him in my head with I wasn't picturing a small scarf. I was picturing like a
then
big wool scarf.
I agree. I was picturing something, like, so ridiculous that you should have known something was going on, not like a dainty little, "I'm just barely covering up my neck" type
I'm
scarf, like
picturing, like, Dobby. Like, when
yes!
Dobby has, like,
Yes!
all the extra layers on, you know? Like,
Oh.
wrapping around that scarf.
100%.
See, and
I agree.
meanwhile, I was thinking like, "Ooh, that's sexy. He snuffed off all the lights." That's where I went. Not like he was turning off the lights so she wouldn't see his freaking veiny body,
You
black
and
veins.
DM go hang out with your head in the sand.
I was gonna say, you're right there with her. Meanwhile, me and Kayla are like the fucking asshole. I tried to hide shit from her still.
No, but then like when he pulled away, I was like, "Wait, what's happening?" I don't
Mhm.
understand. I mean, again,
'Cause who professes their love like that and then doesn't beg? Come on.
I don't know. I just didn't think that something bad was.
I'm telling you, at what point did I finally talk to you about it? 'Cause you were past this point, I feel like.
I was past this point. It was
Yeah,
literally
and I was like, "Girl, you still don't know."
no. Oh my god. I think it no, it was
I love
when they were
you.
walking, when they were getting the tour. That's when I
Yes.
yeah. So much further later.
You really took a while, and I love that about you. You and DM are on the same
Only
wavelength
on
there,
this
though.
part. Don't worry, I'm gonna find all the things in the next half.
Yeah, because you have to take the notes, you're gonna
Yeah,
be like, "Guys, I saw this so far in
Yep.
because
advance."
I do whenever I take notes, I'm like, did you guys notice this? Did
Yes.
you guys because I pay more attention. But otherwise it's just
Yep.
Yeah, I
fun.
get that. I do get that. Oh my goodness. But, okay, so all of a sudden, the group's back together again, and decides this is the time to just lay out all of the dirty laundry at this point. So she like it almost felt like a word vomit moment
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
because she's like, so my mother is leader of the Guardians. Also, I do have a birth father who is descended of some kind, and I know he's alive. I don't know where he's at, but I know he's alive. The Umbrous Queen actually is the one who told me to stop taking my power, so don't know how that came to be, but just wanted you guys to know. The Cinnaries having their powers at the
Oh
ball,
yeah.
working with both the Guardians and the Descended, the fact that Luther and her have this shared vision. Like, she just like
Going.
fucking goes. And then she ends it off by explaining this prophecy. And Luther's very curious about the
Mhm.
Oh
prophecy
yeah.
that both the queen and her uncle had told her, and he has a lot of questions about it. So I'm
Mhm.
curious what more Luther might know on this or what he's piecing together, because I do feel like
I
he
think
was
he's
very intrigued by
assuming
that.
that this was actually Lumnos talking
Yes.
through the king, because the way he asked, like,
Yes, he
was she
did.
female, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's probably the same way that she's spoken to him
Mhm.
before.
Makes sense.
Um, I think that's
Yeah.
like kind of why he was diving into it. But yeah.
I also like that in this moment of because of course Demon Luther are kind of bickering through all of this because things kind of came to a halt in their little sexual escapade after all of that professing of love.
Well, and he walked out on her. Just slammed the door shut.
She
Your
had threatened him
queen
once,
commands you.
Yeah.
and he initially stopped, but then he didn't the second time. That's right. And she was like, I mean, I need that, but also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I have commended her for realizing like she needs someone to tell her no once in a while.
And she needs
We
to
all
not just be like, Are you only serving me because I'm the queen?" And then turn around and be like, "Your queen commands you." I was
Well,
like,
first she didn't even want to be called queen. And then all
yeah,
she's like,
double
I
now she's
know.
throwing
standard.
that weight around all of a sudden.
Yeah.
She's like, don't you dare leave
I
me,
said, "Don't
motherfucker.
Yeah.
don't pull the queen card on him. That's rude."
I think it's so funny. In this moment, DM tells Luther he can't be her high general, and she makes Alix her high general because Luther can't really think straight in regards to her.
Mhm.
He's not
And
following
I
orders.
correct. And I really respected that decision.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it still seemed like a well thought out decision, even though it was probably a little bit in the of emotional decision. It was also kind of well thought out. So I appreciated it.
She said she'd been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah. And it finally just came out in this heated moment a
probably
little
not the
bit.
best time,
Of
but
course.
Diem's chest wound is all nice and healed up, which that was fast. Taryn is basically all healed up. Thank God her blood is the magical cure. And fucking Luther is still wearing an excessive amount of clothes.
and a scarf.
And also, how weird, we're running kind of low on my herb supply, and I thought it was better than that. I just literally clue after clue.
I really didn't even put that
Um
together.
They make so many. I point out every fucking time. I was like, man, they really trying to give you clues. Diem makes a comment about Taryn finding a mate and that she will be a lucky woman, which is kind of like the first we kind of see of him trying to be like, well, actually, and kind of trails off. We don't actually find anything out other than Taryn gets very flustered
Uh,
when
Taryn
meeting
is
Zalaric.
like such a hopeless romantic.
I love it
I love it.
though.
He is
I
like
love it so much.
obsessed with love.
I
His
know.
little heart
I know because
eyes.
he's obsessed
Oh
with
yeah.
freaking Luther and Diem. He's obsessed with the meeting bond. Like
Yeah.
And there's
he
like a
is
mating
such
tattoo or something like that too, right? Like there's
Yes.
yes,
something
but
on them.
yes,
Yeah.
but he's such a sucker, and I just think it's the cutest thing ever. And Zolark really plays into it, and
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
loved it so
Yep.
much. He does tell the group he can't get them out of Umbros, but not until tomorrow night. And Luther is once again very frustrated, angry about how long it's taking. And Diem's like, y'all, it's an extra day. What's what's the problem, dude?
Mhm.
And so he offers to take them on the a tour of the city, which Diem's like, let's go. And Luther decides to stay behind, and the rest of the group goes. Zolark disguises the whole group. Diem is this older woman. Alex is a man, and then Taryn is an 8-year-old girl.
I love it. It's so
I love
funny.
it.
He's like, you made
And
me
it's
a
just so funny.
girl, a little girl. Chase me
She's
back.
like, "Come here, Tiffany. Come here."
Their interaction every time. I could not. It was just the best. And of course, DM just thinks it's so fucking comical, which made it even better.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of Zolaric's backstory. He was born in Paradise Row. He lived with his mom for 7 years until one day she never came back. He eventually got hungry and finally left home, and he got turned into the Royal Guard for money, which Dean was initially upset about, but she then realized Luther had put that in place so they wouldn't actually kill them, which
Yeah,
is
so they
actually a
wouldn't
really
kill
smart
them on the
idea.
spot. They would
Yeah.
actually turn them in.
For
I was
money.
like, that part. I was like, wow, that's very smart.
Yeah, because when I first read it, I'm
Absolutely.
like, wait, I thought he was supposed to be safe. And then I was like, oh, got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Zolaric, of course, did not realize Luther was trying to help, and he tried to escape, and one of the guards caught him and slashed his throat, which, oh my god, because he does have a scar there.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Luther managed to stop the bleeding and get him to Umbros to someone called Miss Margie. Sadly, Miss Margie eventually got sick and
Because she was
died.
human. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
because she was Zolaric, did whatever he could to get money and eventually honed his magic and earned money in the fighting ring.
Mhm.
He's kind of who took over Miss Margie's whole operation in Umbros, which
Mhm.
again, he just seems like such a good guy, even though he has such a bad boy almost persona.
Mhm.
Zolark realizes Diem is half mortal. He says he can just tell because he himself is, and like he sees the difference. And I think he figured out, I think, that she was queen probably pretty
Well, and
quickly. I feel like he's a pretty smart man.
the way he figured
Mhm.
out the difference between her and not being descended was because of just the things that she would say that, oh, I wanted this. Because descended never want anything, they just have it. The way she was trying to like, oh, I don't want to spend my
Yes,
money
for the
kind of thing.
like
Yeah.
being half mortal
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah.
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 But then like also just she makes a lot of comments, and then even in regards to the queen, she makes some weird remarks where I was like, "You are such a dead giveaway, girl. You
Yeah.
cannot hide anything,
No,
I don't
even
totally.
though
think
you
that
try
he knew
sometimes."
she was queen yet, though. Because I feel like
I
he
feel like
still acted kind of surprised in the cave.
No, I think he was surprised when he found out she was Orly's daughter. I
And that's
don't know that
it?
he was surprised about the queen thing. I
I
mean, maybe he was more surprised, but I got the vibe it was because of who she was related to, not because she
Yeah.
was a queen.
Yeah.
So, they're on the tour, and they walk by this table with glass jars with these tiny little fires inside of them, and it's bottled dragon fire. At least that's what
yes.
the vendor says. Zalaric thinks he's full of shit. Um, but this violet flame is calling to Diem, and it is dragon fire from the Montios Gryvern.
That died.
I do not know how to yes, but I do not know how to say this name. Ramari?
Ramari?
Sure.
That's how I'd say that. But it was the oldest of the Gryverns and was pure white in color, which
Do you think he's her dad?
the Gryvern?
Yeah, the
Or
Gryvern.
the
The Montios King. Or do you think it's
I
Fortos?
don't
Do you
know.
think Fortos King and Mama Orly did stuff before?
I don't think it's any of the I don't think it's descended. It's a kindred.
I know. I was
Yeah.
maybe
It's
thinking.
definitely
She's like,
the 100% it's the descended that is up north with the Guardians fucking shit up.
yeah,
It's
agreed.
because a whole battalion of descended went missing when they went up there to go confront them.
I don't know.
But yes, I'm hoping at least the second part will get some more answers, but I'm sure there will be some
I'm sure
things
it'll be a
left.
huge cliffhanger because
Yeah.
She seems to like a cliffhanger, that is for sure. But yeah, so we got these little jars of fire, and she tells the flame to rise just out of instinct, and the jar burns the merchant, which I loved. And she pays for it and goes to leave, and the merchant is like, no, I should put it in a bag. Nobody just walks around with their purchase. And he like grabs her arm, and all of the fires get like really intense all of a sudden when he does that, and she like has to tell them all to calm down, and they listen.
I love it.
She's
And
because they're protecting her. Like she can feel that they want to protect her. I feel like somehow she's gonna be able to resurrect
them.
the other Gryverns.
I
Oh,
really hope
that'd be
so.
so
Like when
I
he
cool.
want that
said
so bad.
rise, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna be able to bring him back.
Like a
Bring her back.
phoenix. Like a phoenix.
I would love that so much. Obviously, this really gets the merchant's attention, and Zlarek pays him off, and Diem decides it's time to go back to the inn because
Mm-hmm.
let's not create any more chaos. And so back at the inn, Luther is all sleeping haphazardly, and weird, he got more herbs since Diem said they were running low, and God forbid she's running low on herbs. It has nothing to do with him needing them.
He was just trying to take care of her.
Himself? You mean himself?
No, she
Um,
said she needed some milk, and he went and got the goddamn milk. That's what he did.
shut up.
Again,
I
still no
cannot.
clue.
Head sand.
Sand. But Luther wakes up, shows Diem a newspaper, and this is when we find out that 80 descended shoulders disappeared in Montios, and the man in their vision is in the newspaper leading the Guardians, which that's going to be a mess. I'm very intrigued to see how that all plays out.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time for them to try and get out of Umbros, and Zalaric leads the group through an underground tunnel to get to their boat home. Diem ends up reading Zalaric's mind and finds a little hidden secret laced with sorrow and regret.
But she didn't realize yet that she was reading his mind, right? She kind of got like just a feeling, or did she like
No, at that point she
knew
realized.
at that point.
Because she was complaining it's so loud like another time.
She didn't realize that all
Then.
the extra voices were, but she did realize that she was reading his thoughts in this moment.
Okay.
Because she makes the actual effort of pulling back the curtain.
Correct. She kind of like acknowledges him in this moment, giving him this understanding like she knows. And they continue on, and she's kind of like second guessing her choices a little bit. They meet with the cardinal who will be taking them home, which she was just funny. I liked her. Zolara continues to tease Terran as he says goodbye, but he does finally call him by his full name because, of course, he actually knows it, but also teases him about not going to Lumnos because clearly they don't have hairdressers.
That's so funny. It's like, your hair sucks.
And he was
It's
like,
like,
we
your
have
hair is
hairdressers.
well, and his hair's like very like just tight to his head.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought that whole combo was funny. DM's telling Zlark bye and is like trying to last minute see if they can leave without her. But at this point, it is too late because the Umbros Queen's chief centenary shows up. Fucking Simon. Zlark realizes that DM is Orly's daughter, and this is when he just looks absolutely fucking horrified.
Yeah,
Because
asshole.
Zolark and Orly actually did work together, so he's feeling real bad now. Simon is being his typical creepy self and narrating people's private thoughts and sending images once again to Simon controls the rest of the group by having all of them hold blades to their throat, which
Yuck.
icky.
Mm-hmm.
Then Simon has the cardinal kill herself by slashing her throat because she wasn't a friend of the group and he only agreed to protecting her friends. That whole back and forth.
Sneaky.
He like really verified so many times, like, so you're not friends? And then freaking DM's like, oh fuck! He found the loophole. Terran's pissed that Zolark turned them in. He's kind of questioning like the why behind it. And the group also realizes that Diem had figured it out. Mind you, they did not realize when she had figured it out.
Or
They just knew
how
had
she figured it out.
Correct.
Yeah.
While they're all bickering, Diem casually kneels over the cardinal and Alix is blocking her view. And Diem manages to heal her and hide it.
Weird. She can heal her, but she can't heal anybody else. I don't understand.
It's selective healing. I don't know.
So
she just
dumb.
I can't. And then to try and distract Simon, she begins flirting with him, takes his arm, and they go off. And I just couldn't like. Taryn can be so naive sometimes. He's just like, "How dare you flirt with him in front of Luther?" And she's like, "Bitch, why you not give me the benefit of the doubt here?" He does not. He really doesn't.
No, he really doesn't.
I really do love Tyrion. Fuck.
I know. I still love him regardless of all of his little quirks. But we get to the palace, and they love all of their pleasures in the palace: sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever your pleasure
rock
be.
and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You should experience it here. Exactly. And Simon says all the participants are willing. There's no one being coerced into anything, which I thought was interesting. And of course she makes a comment about like, well, you still are throwing fucking scenarios in my mind. And he didn't see the problem with that.
He's like, it's just thoughts. And she's like, yeah, but you're not like, it's not, I'm not giving you consent for it.
Yeah.
Which is
And he was just like,
essentially what we said when V and I were talking about that. She was like, oh, it's just thoughts. And I was like, yeah, but he's still forcing them on her.
Into her
and
mind.
So
he was like, oh, would you not have us use our powers at all? And she's like, not without consent, I wouldn't. And he was just like so thrown by that. I feel like he was just like, wait, what?
Well, and he was like very offended that she even said anything about like him forcing himself on someone.
Yeah, because he said the queen would kill him.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I mean, I appreciate it because obviously not looking for a bunch of rapists in this.
Yes, but like, bud, you creepy as fuck.
He molested her mind.
You molested her
yes,
mind.
I mean, I think so. And then of course Simon's throwing all of these little remarks at Luther.
Oh my gosh.
And images, come to find out.
How he was
because he's like taking care of DM when he isn't around.
Yeah.
Taryn and Zlark get in a fight. Luther is hurt that DM knew that Zlark was going to betray them. Again, I don't know why he didn't give her the benefit of the doubt either, but whatever. Um, and the Umbros Queen shows up and forces the whole group to kneel, minus Diem, because she is a queen also. Diem can call her Ircel. And the Umbros Queen is kind of like warning Diem to behave in her mind. She's like, don't challenge me in front of people or I'll have to do something about it.
Which is kind of similar to Dell. It's
Yeah.
like, I have to make an example of you if you're going to openly challenge me, but if you don't, then, like, we can make this go okay.
Which I liked. Again, she's kind of a interesting character in herself, which I do find it very interesting. She's gonna be dying soon. I want to know more about that, but we'll get there. We find out that in order to execute Diem's mother, it requires a vote of 6, and right now they only have a vote of 5. So the Umbros Queen is kind of like the one holding things out because Montios, Arboros haven't responded, and then Lumnos has declined to vote until Dean's return, which I was like, motherfuckers, just say no. You're dumb.
Yeah.
I was
fucking
so
Remus.
surprised that Remus did
I
that.
know, Remus totally could have. Other than Diem's supposed to protect him because they have that kind of agreement. So
That's true.
I guess that would be kind of against his better judgment, maybe.
Or maybe Luther
true.
threatened him before he left.
Yeah, I don't know. But Diem's favor to the queen, because she decides to give her a favor, is to stay in the palace as a guest for a few days since they entered Umbros without permission. And the queen will reconsider her vote on Arlie if Diem were to decline. So, of course, they are staying, even though Luther does not want to. He knows that Diem's not going to try and hurt her mom. So, as visitors, they get all their items back, weapons back. They're all got their magic, which I was like, damn, we very generous to our visitors here.
We're generous to our visitors.
And then none of the centenaries are allowed to intrude their thoughts anymore. So again, the queen still can, but the rest of the group are not supposed to, which I appreciated that. The whole group has dinner together, minus Luther, because he declined and went to bed, even though freaking Diem would love to have a conversation with him about the fact she, wasn't hoarding this information out about Solaric for an extended period of time. Zolaric finds out the cardinal isn't dead, which he's very relieved by. We find out Zolaric could also feel Diem's magic as soon as she entered the city, which
that was wild to me.
I know when that revealed, yeah.
He's like, I can feel people when they enter a room normally, but I felt you when you entered the city.
But he didn't know it was her. He just felt the power, but he didn't know what.
He just felt the power. Didn't know it was her until she actually came in.
Which means the queen very obviously knew she was in the city because the queen would have been able to feel her.
Yeah.
Because that's how that came up was Diem was talking about how immensely powerful the queen felt. And he was like, she's got nothing on you.
Yeah,
and she was like,
she says we're evenly matched, probably, right? And he's like, not even
sure.
You're so funny.
I know.
No.
So funny. Diem essentially gives the group permission to try and find out what they can from the centenaries, whatever means they decide to go about that. Aaron really takes that to heart, and I thought it was so fucking funny.
His drinking game, yeah.
Oh my god, him and his drinking. I love that Diem kind of has a, hey, has anyone talked to you about maybe being an alcoholic? I was like, man, that was a very casual conversation.
He's like,
but
yeah,
also, like,
Alex and Luther both have.
I know. And I'm like, okay, no one's too worried. Okay. Zolaric casually asks Diem how she knew that like he was going to betray them, and he kind of makes a remark about feeling someone reach into his mind, but then he like lets it go all of a sudden. So I think he got enough confirmation without her feeling like she had to give. I liked how he played that. Anywho, he has this dream. Diem and him then have a little heart to heart about both Solaric and his brother Aemon. Essentially, like, let's not treat them both the same. Also, you both grew up in a shitty upbringing. People handle that differently. People handle abuse differently. Like, I appreciated this conversation a lot
Same.
because it did come from like this healing perspective. And again, this was another good one from her in that regard. She's
Yeah.
so hit or miss, but this one was good.
Mhm.
Yeah. And finding out that like the whole reason why he has so much hate towards Eamon is because he felt like he didn't protect him as the younger brother, and then went on to
Be a puppet,
emanate
essentially. Yeah.
essentially their dad who did this to them. But that is so much so what happens in a lot of abuse situations.
Yes, agreed.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that makes me feel like there's more hope for Eamon than
Yeah.
maybe I did previously.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't do anything like specifically. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he's probably done a lot of horrible things, I'm sure, but specifically that you can't come back from.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I
I
don't know. We'll
agree.
see.
Luther decides to show on up at this point, and he looks like absolute garbage.
Mhm.
Diem's trying to explain to him what happened with Zalaric and Simon, which he's like being weirdly fine about now all of a sudden. Like, he's like, I don't really need an explanation. It makes sense now. Kind of like 180'd a little bit in this
Mhm.
moment. And Luther is trying to tell Diem something, and they get interrupted. And
What's he trying to
I
tell her?
wanted bitch. Don't even play with me right now. We all knew what he was trying to tell her in this moment, and Simon, your timing is terrible. Get out
I'm
of
sure
here.
it was intentional. I'm sure it was intentional that he just happened to be there.
Yes, I know. He's just, I don't think, a good guy.
Mm-mm.
He picks Diem up to have a private lunch with Yrcel. And first, he takes her to pick out one of the queen's dresses, which she feels very weird about and is
Yeah.
very funny. So she shows up, and the queen's like, something is wrong. And she thinks it's the dress. And she's like, no, turn your crown on, fool. And so she puts that back on. And we find out a little later that it looks a little different. So love
It sure
that.
Did
does.
it change, or has it always looked different and no one really noticed because
It
No,
changed.
it changed
oh
because
shit.
they all like stare at it and they're like, "Is it? It's different."
It's
And
different.
then I think it changes because I think it was only a slight change, and then I think it changes again at the very end when she like does her whatever
Badass
freak
moment.
out. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
completely morphs again.
I want to know what it
Mhm.
looks like.
I think it's gonna go through many stages
Yeah.
throughout.
But for sure,
Um,
Yrcel knows. She probably knows exactly what's happening. I thought it was
she clearly knows a lot of what's happening.
because her kindred has been talking to her also.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Correct.
and she says she knows more than Diem's mom.
She does. She does say that. The queen also does make a comment about Zalaric throughout their conversation. Shame. I quite enjoyed him, was the remark she made. And so Diem is very concerned that the intention is for him to die
Mhm.
after all is said and done, which I agree. It does very much come across that way.
Yeah.
We do find out that because Diem is a crown, she is entitled to question her mother in prison. So obviously, I think we're gearing up for that.
I love a good loophole.
Same. The queen points out that the descended have lost sight of many of the things that the kindred intended. So she's, again, more along the lines of Diem in a lot of her thought process in regards to both mortals and descended.
Mhm.
And Father Umbros speaks to the queen, and he's who told her many of the things about Diem, which I think it's interesting that it's him that's telling the queen about
Mhm.
her. Like, what all do all of these kindred know? Like,
Mhm.
clearly they all know what's up.
Yeah. Well, maybe they can only talk
Um,
to their perspective realm, like the each.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
I think you're right. And so I think those that have strayed too far from the original
Yeah.
thoughts that they upheld are not getting spoken to
Mhm.
by their kindred. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
You know who Lumnos talks to?
Luther.
Luther.
Yeah, no shit, because he's supposed to be king there. I know. I agree.
Because technically, I don't think Lumnos has actually spoken to DM, just through people to her, but not actually to her.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's
Mhm.
actually talked to her.
Yeah.
The queen knows that TM wants to create change in Lumnos, and she wants to know her level of dedication to this goal. And
Mhm.
so she's like, how much of your soul are you willing to set ablaze? And she says, all of it.
Yeah.
Which there's like no hesitation in that,
Mhm.
which
And she would know if she's lying.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know, because she was kind of blocking him out, I feel like, at this point, wasn't
She's
she, a little
blocking
bit?
them out at this point.
No,
And
the
No,
queen.
no, it's later.
Yeah.
It's at the like dinner thing
Yeah.
that she
When
really
they do
puts
that
that.
game.
Yeah. She does block him out later. I mean, I think she does to some degree at this point, but like she really solidifies it at the dinner.
Mhm.
yeah, well, and because the queen can't get past it. You can tell how uncomfortable she is with admitting that she can't get past it.
I
Yeah,
think,
no,
yeah,
she
that's like,
won't
I feel
admit
like
it.
that's towards the end, but like at this part,
Yeah.
like at dinner when they play that game about like who, the truth or truth,
I know.
truth or lie game,
That game gets wild.
Mhm.
she could still tell if
We
people
get in
are lying.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We get access to a library. She gives her a key. She has this very fruitful library that rivals the one in Sophos, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The queen says an education is the most powerful gift of them all, which
Because
I
it
highlighted
has
that also.
human books, it has mortal books in it, not just.
it has mortals books, it has
Yeah.
descended books, it has kindred.
Yep.
It
It
has
has kindred
all of
books.
them.
Mhm.
And so she finally stumbles upon this journal written by one of the kindred, and it happens to be Montios, which I think
I
again is
loved
very
it.
relevant. And we kind of get a lot of information from him about how they're falling in love with all these mortals, blah blah blah. But at the end of this passage, it says there is a plan, but our youngest did not agree. Our lives are shorter now. We must persuade him before our time expires. I confess some days I fear him. What happened in our homeland did not scare him as it should have. Instead, he speaks of it with reverence. Even our MO, and then it just goes off. We don't know the rest of that. It's clearly important information, but we don't know it.
I feel like, yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's the youngest kindred for sure, and this is her dad.
Yep.
Like
100%.
very much the vibe I got from this. But I'm curious if Mo is mother, or I'm curious what that specific word is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At the end. Like, is there someone above? Like, I'm really curious. I don't know. Or even our mortals, even I don't know.
I'm really
I needed
nervous.
more.
I'm really nervous.
I know. I feel like it could go so many ways in this passage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But of course, Simon once again fucking interrupts super conveniently, and they need to go get ready for dinner. And of course, she wants to go talk to Luther. And he makes a comment about picking up two of his centenaries there because they've been in Luther's room. And he's like, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. Yes, you wanted to tell her that.
Mhm.
So she sees these two women who are ogling fucking Luther leave. And so she is angrily getting ready for this dinner.
Well, they were talking about how big his things were, or how big he was, and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yep.
And you know how
They're making
I
a
know.
lot of sexual innuendos.
Oh,
Oh,
that's all they
100%.
do. That's all of what they all
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
And like I understand why DM was mad because it does. It looked terrible.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way that looked like, oh, that's probably nothing. No,
No.
that looked fucking bad.
Even if a woman walked out of my husband's room without saying anything like that,
No context.
someone come get me, because
She did.
Someone's getting hurt, and it's not me.
It's damn straight, girl. We would come back you up. Let's be real. No context needed. We'd just be like, "What the fuck?
Like, let's go. Where you at?"
Where you
Yep.
at?" But so we get to dinner. Everyone is dressed so nicely for
I
this dinner,
know.
and I love when people get all dressed up for things.
Oh.
This is where they point out that her crown looks different. DM does make a comment that she tried to go visit Luther, but he was preoccupied. And like, he doesn't help her thought process in this at all,
Nope.
which he's so dumb. And all of the centenaries show up, make their grand appearance. This is where Taryn points out that he loves a manly man. He's just my favorite. We do find out at dinner that Umbros magic can erase memories, create them, and replace emotions with pain or pleasure. They do make a comment about once a mind is crushed, there is no saving it, and I do think that's going to be relevant also, which is why I quoted it. Veronica texts me just hag face in a text, and I started hysterically laughing because it was just so funny I loved, not only was it in her mind for a lot of the time, but it does eventually, she actually calls for that out loud.
Yeah.
I thought it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Fucking hag face.
Like, she's like, what did you call me? What did you just say?
And she just continues to ignore her.
I love
so
it.
good.
So
It was a good nickname for her. Ursel does attempt to flame root the whole group, and I love that Taryn had already drank it.
Okay, but did you notice when she said stop, everyone froze,
stopped,
including the queen?
And it wasn't just like like stop, and everyone's like, oh, what? Like, no, everyone like
No, it was froze.
Ah!
I agree. I think they were listening to her command. Like, it seemed very intentional how they worded it.
Yep.
And then DM realizes she's hearing other people's thoughts in this moment as well, and she finally blocks them all out, and it gets way quieter. Instead, the group drinks this plant that I'm not even going to attempt to say, that is an aphrodisiac, which, shocker, not shocker in this realm.
Yep.
And this is where they play the mirror game.
Yeah.
In exchange, the queen will answer any of DM's questions the next day. We find out Alix thinks Luther should be king, which I don't know that one surprised me too much.
No.
I think that makes it, because she's so logical, like,
Yeah.
he would be a better fit because he knows. And then both Taryn and Zalaric obviously weren't honest about who they would sleep with in the group, because it is each other, and neither of them said that. And DM says she would save her whole group or die trying, so any other answer would be dishonest. And the queen's like, she's not lying.
Yep.
So I found that interesting.
See, and then that's why I think that she hadn't put up her shield yet, so that she can still read her thoughts.
She specifically says she opens a window.
Oh, that's right. Like,
correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because the queen's like kind of looking at her like, bud, you gotta let me fucking in or else.
Yep.
And I was like, oh God.
She's kindred strong. She's kindred strong.
Oh, she's hella strong. Again, we get to that moment, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
So excited.
I'm so excited. The blood war had more to do with whose blood would literally win out, which I thought was interesting. They kind of go into that. And it was also discussed, like, when, like, two different realms, creates a human, whoever's power is stronger is the one that the baby will acquire. And so,
then the other blood is just gone.
Correct.
Like,
which
they
I thought
are
was very
fully
interesting.
of that realm now.
So mixing is not really a thing aside from clearly her, which I am intrigued by, because you would think, obviously, in a lot of cases, that if you mix two, they would have both. So I like that they elaborated that that's not the case here. Because
she's mortal and kindred. She's not descended. or descended and
Correct.
kindred. It's the two descended specifically don't mix well.
I know, which is funny because that's all they're trying to do is have descendant on descent. Like,
Yep.
y'all fucking yourselves.
Well, and then it's obviously weakening them because they're getting really weak offspring, and even really powerful offspring are having weak offspring. There's no rhyme or reason to who's powerful, who's not. And then the half mortals are super powerful.
That's what happens when you kiss your brothers and you kiss your sisters, and you know, sometimes the genetic pool is just too close, and
cousins be cousining.
Cousins be cousining.
Don't do it.
Oh my goodness. Dinner finishes and they go to another room to partake in whatever pleasures they desire.
All of them.
I know. Diem pushes Taryn to go talk to Zalaric. Taryn reminds Diem that obviously Luther is obsessed about her because she's still kind of getting weird vibes from him, which again, girl, I just cannot with you.
He basically says to her, he's like, are you for real right now?
Yeah.
I know. The level of he's like, you're stupid.
But I like that he's drunk and saying this to her at the same time.
Yeah.
That just like
I know. So drunk.
Yes. He's like,
it really does add.
Very stupid. Like,
yeah.
Yes, in his drunk ass state. I agree. DM does finally get to see a mating mark in person.
I like how it's used. How like if they touch it,
they can touch it.
They can feel each other.
Agree.
Yeah. And Terrence just like ogling it.
He's like, I love it. Yeah.
He's like, I just every time I see him, doesn't matter how many times.
I love it.
Still get so excited.
Cannot. Ursel does confide in Diem that her next successor will be Diem's most difficult adversary and will drive a wedge between her and those she loves. I did find it interesting that she knows who it's going to be. Obviously, she didn't want to say because she said it could bring about her death even earlier, but usually it can be within hours to months that she should be expected to die. Yeah. But she's on a mission. She's going to his room this time, and she gets in, and he is a mess again. His room's a mess. Everything is wrong, clearly. Fucking Diem goes on this long tangent.
Monologue
that is basically, I know. She's like basically professing her love for Luther. They're like massive word vomit. She realized that loving someone doesn't always mean brutal honesty. She said he's worth fighting for and he can keep his secrets and she will be here when he is ready. Well, lo and behold, he's fucking bleeding and she finds out he was stabbed by Godstone about fucking time.
A long ass time ago. And he is struggle bussing. And then she goes crazy after that.
Oh, she goes hard after this. The frenzy with which she acts after this point, I felt the anxiety she was feeling. But yeah, she finally like connects all these dots that again I had been writing out through this whole fucking
I was
thing.
sobbing through this, you guys. Like this whole chapter, it was sad, crying. I was like, oh my god, yeah. It's crazy.
See, because you were in it. You were not mentally prepared like I was fucking at the beginning when I was like, he's acting weird already.
But I'm also like, this is book 3 and we're halfway through it, so he ain't gonna die.
No, but it was just a sad moment.
No, it was very sad. And again, she was just so distraught. She immediately calls for Sorai, which I love because he's like, oh fuck, what did you do? And she's like, we're getting out of here. And he's like, but you need your answer. Finally, he's like, but you need answers. I was like, bitch, this whole time you've been trying to leave. And now when you're basically on your goddamn doorstep to death is when you're gonna wait, bitch.
Dummy.
Where were you?
Dummy.
Many chapters ago.
Yeah.
I cannot. And so Diem goes and gets Taryn, who is naked and covering himself with a pillow. And oh, wait, is that Zalaric in your bed? How interesting. Love that for you. And Zalaric goes and gets Alex, and she's having apparently a great time with all the centenaries, which get it, girl.
They liked her.
Get it, girl.
I know. I loved her willingness to just Have a good time.
Yep. She was like, "I would take any one of you, or preferably all of you."
I loved that. I was like,
Mhm.
"Damn, yes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Get it. You like this pleasure city.
Yep.
Live your best life."
Wow, yeah.
And so the group all sees Luther and they're obviously very concerned. DM tells them that she called Sarai and they make a plan to get back to Lumnos. So Lorik is invited because she thinks the queen's going to kill him and she tells him as much. And Taryn wants him to come too because he doesn't want to have to worry about him potentially dying, which love. Such a sucker. Luther had written goodbye letters already that Taryn had found on his desk. And of course, Deem's like, get rid of mine. And he does not. He still takes all of them. And then he grabs the
I
compass and
know.
he pauses and looks at his own heart's desire and frowns, which I want to know what it told him
Solaric.
desperately.
100% it was
His
Solaric.
heart, do you think his heart
I
really desires him already?
I think it
Or is it
knows
still
if
lusting?
someone is your mate, I think it'll be able to tell
But
that.
it's a
but his
chosen
reaction was
mate.
in
It's a
But
chosen mate.
but are they really?
Yes, it's a
I was gonna say
chosen
they do
mate.
have another conversation in this book about how the gods pick the mates, but yes, they can choose whether or not to accept them. So it's kind of a little bit of both. But it was his response to it that I found interesting because he like deeply frowned or something is how they word it. And so I was curious because that was his reaction, like if it wasn't Solaric.
I think it was.
Mm,
He just knew
Like
he
if
had
he was
to
I
leave
think it's
him.
I think it's
okay.
too early in their interaction for him to like acknowledge that big of feelings. But yet he still got real sensitive when they were talking about mating bonds. And
I
Zalaric was
know.
like, maybe if I meet someone worth it or whatever, and he like
Mhm.
stomps off.
Yeah, that's true. He did get a little butthurt by that.
I also love that when Luther tells Taryn, you have to protect her, like make an oath to me right now. And he's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, no. And he was like, yeah, you're right. Fuck that. You have to live. I'm not keeping your oath. You
I
can
love it.
protect her yourself. I
That
was
was
like,
so funny.
yes.
I know. The
You get
fire with
better.
which they all, like, get
Yeah.
mad at each other
Like,
kills
don't
me.
be
I
giving
just found
up and
that
thinking that no, you fucking live. You get
Yeah.
better and you
He's like,
live.
Uh-huh.
yeah, fuck your oath. And I was like, yes,
I know.
Darren.
So
Karen
funny.
is the best.
Um, the group makes their way to Irsel's private dining room so Sarai can come and pick them up, and Zalaric does decide to join them. Diem does have a brief moment where she realizes that Irsel is helping prevent her mother's death, but she does not let this stop her. She continues on her path regardless. It just was like a brief, like, oh fuck, realization.
Mm-hmm.
Diem briefly also has this moment where she considers mating with Luther. So if for some reason he does die, they could be bound in the afterlife, which I was like, damn girl, you're getting real wild all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden with your thoughts. So they make it to the dining room and they hear a Gryvern, but it can't be Sarai yet. It's too early.
Mhm.
The Umbros Gryvern lands on the balcony and they're all trying to hide, which
The hiding
this
was
moment.
so bad.
Oh, it was so bad. And of course, freaking Luther's just bleeding on the floor, but is invisible because of Alex. But the Gryvern sees it. And Diem decides to come out of her hiding place and calls out to the Gryvern. She tells, like, hey, I don't mean any harm to you or the queen. She knows the queen is dying, but all she wants is peace. And has this moment that gets wrecked when Sarai decides to show up and very loudly announce
Of
herself because
course.
she thinks her human is in danger. So like I get it, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time,
But she
fuck,
should
we
have
were making
read she
progress.
should have felt the like what's it called?
The
DM's
The
feelings,
intention.
right?
intention.
Like she should have
Yeah,
known.
but I don't know if Gryverns can feel other Gryverns' intentions. I don't know if that's a thing.
I mean, I feel like no,
You'd think it would be.
because I know that Gryverns
I don't
have
know.
like free will to a certain extent, but she should have been able to feel the queen's intent and DM's intent, and they're just chatting. Unless someone was really thinking like, "Fuck, kill her."
Well, the queen hadn't even showed up yet
Oh, you're
No,
right.
at this
You're right. You're
point.
yeah.
right.
It was just the
Yeah. So
Gryvern.
maybe that's why.
So she just sees a Gryvern and panicked.
Yeah.
So, of course, after letting out this I think it said war cry like screech or something.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone comes running. So weird. Thankfully, they had blocked the door. So the centenaries are trying to get in. And Lark attempts to keep them away from the door with his shadows,
Mhm.
but the centenaries do manage to do something to him because he is frozen in place, eyes glassy and dark. I think they mind wiped him. I think he got mind wiped, and I think it's going to be a
No,
massive
really? You
problem
think
in
that?
this
He got
next
mind
part.
wiped? I thought they just froze him. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
I think he may have gotten mind wiped, and it wasn't until I read it again that I was like, fuck, the way they're describing this
Mhm.
is concerning. And he just like doesn't act right after the fact. And of course, we do not see what happens after fucking chapter 40 because we decided to pause in a terrible spot.
Horrible
But
spot.
I am very concerned that that may have been the case. And of course, they have said that you can't recover from that. So I'm feeling very
Yeah.
icky about that potential. I hope that's not the case, but
I don't
I
think
just
they
got
would
really
mind
bad
wipe him
vibes.
forever. If they mind wiped him, then she would be able to reverse it.
I fucking hope so because I really like him.
She should be
I'm
able to
feeling
fix
optimistic.
everything. She'll fix everything.
She'll fix it. I know we're really giving her a lot of hope in that
She
regard.
might
We're
be
like, you
like
just,
blind as a bat to like common sense things, but
but like, you gotta be able to fix whatever we need
she'll
fixed.
save the world.
Yeah.
Once again, DM has her little backup plan, and she sends off the whole group on Sarai, minus
Gosh.
herself.
I'm
I
like,
could not.
bro, do you not realize Luther said all he wants is for you to be with him every day until he dies? And you're just like,
Bye.
okay, bye.
Yeah. But that's just who she
can't.
is. That's who
I
she
know
is.
she.
Her self-sacrificing bullshit.
But the thing that sucks
I
is
know.
that Luther is the same fucking person. He is also
Agreed.
self-sacrificing,
To a fault.
especially
Yes.
for her.
Yep, to a fault.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Both of them
mostly
are going to
only
get
for
each
her.
other killed for their bullshit.
Ah!
I agree.
Mhm.
So she stays behind. Diem is pissed at Simon for taunting a dying man, and she fucking attacks him
Mhm.
until the queen tells, her to let him go. Diem offers to come back in a few days once Luther and her mother are safe, and the queen says, we do not have the luxury of time. Every day he grows stronger. Soon even you will not be able to stop him, and if that happens, this entire world will fall, and so will everyone in
Then
it.
why did you keep them there
Obviously.
for days?
Well, and like,
You're gonna die
just
soon.
the,
It could
And
be
not
I
hours
tell
from
her.
know.
now.
And not tell her. Like,
Yes.
just stop.
Like anything actually important.
She
Yeah.
keeps just being like, tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow.
I know. I just could not with that. DM creates a shield that no one is able to physically get through. So all 100 of the centenaries use their mental attacks, but she's able to keep every single one of them out, which is fucking insane. Simon makes a comment about, hey, we need you too, like to the queen. And so she joins in,
She's like, you
and
better let
DM
me
like
in.
temporarily kneels, I think just from the pressure, not because they're actually getting in.
Yep.
And so she makes like a quick little comment like, see, even she has to kneel, even though that's fucking not what happened.
Nope.
Like she's just playing it off like it is. But then she lets that mental shield down and she fucking absorbs their powers, and it's just the best moment
She
ever. She's like,
says,
let's
I'm
go.
DM Bellator and I will kneel for no one.
I
And then
love
stands
it.
and just fucking, and then goes, deuces, jumps off the balcony. I was like, is Sorai coming back? Are we now going to have wings?
No.
What's happening?
I truly had no idea. Again, the where we decided to stop
We're like,
without fail
ah!
is always, we like purposely put ourselves on cliffhangers accidentally.
This was one of
Purposely
the
on
worst ones
accident.
we've done. I think this was the worst one we've done.
Mhm.
This one was by far probably one of the first ones we've done.
She literally jumped
yeah.
off a cliff. It was not just a cliffhanger. She literally jumped off.
After taking every single one of all the descendants, right there's powers.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just curious, I guess, what the intention is after jumping off this cliff. Like,
I don't know.
She better
What?
hope that Sora is close.
Or maybe the other
I don't know that
Gryvern.
she is, though.
Maybe the other
Or the other
Gryvern.
Gryvern.
We'll find
Yeah,
out.
I don't know. I don't know what we will find out because fuck stopping in this spot. Let me
Best
tell you, that
believe
was
I'm going to be at least reading a chapter before I go to bed.
Because then
just
you
to
can
confirm
know.
she's okay. How do you get
And then you're going to
out
get
of
to that
this?
chapter and you're going to be like, fuck! I don't know.
Well, because I think there's only 4 or 5 chapters left before we're done with part 2. Like, the halfway point was right before the end of part 2, but I'm trying to remember
Damn,
what the
part 3 must
actual.
be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
But I mean, again, I think a lot's about to fucking happen because we've got to
yeah. For sure.
save a hell of a lot of people at this point between fucking, I think, Zalaric and fucking Luther, her mom.
A lot of people.
Like,
that shit's not going to
yeah, there's 5 more chapters in this part. So
so we could have just done part 1 and 2 and taken the
no,
dagger out of our
because
heart
they're
a
like,
little bit.
we're not sure. Well, no, because they'll probably end on a fucking cliffhanger at the end of part 2 too. Yeah, it was another almost 80 pages.
Oh, snap.
But yeah. Any other thoughts y'all have? I mean, we've talked through, I think, a lot of them as we went. Especially our frustrations.
I'm going to pay a lot more attention to this next half, tell you that much.
I can't. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm hoping we fucking figure out a way to save Luther. Again, it's got to be her fucking blood. That's clearly
or
the
just
answer.
her regular powers.
And then, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Either
Why
one.
can't it just
I will be
that?
happy with just saving him.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on with Zalaric. I'm still very concerned in that regard. And I'm hopeful whatever it is, we can fix it.
Yeah.
Or I will be very sad.
I'm very nervous about what's
And
really
then-
happening in Lumnos, though. I don't think things are just fine.
Same. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think once they get there, it's going to be not so good.
Mhm.
And then I think obviously she's going to go talk to her mom.
Hopefully.
I feel like in this next
Hopefully.
part.
We still haven't talked to her. We still haven't
But the
talked to her.
Fortos King really fucking hates her. So I don't know how that's going to go.
I was going to say, I just think it'd be very, yeah, but she has a right as a crown to go fucking talk to her.
Yeah, but when she talked to the Igneos King, he was like, there's a bounty for your head. All the crowns want you. Like, you're being requested.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm
he's
taking
a
you.
jerk. I
Well,
think
I know,
it's
but so is the Fortos King.
Well, but also the Umbrous Queen made many, many comments about the crowns hold no power over other crowns. Like she reiterated that many,
you just can't go
times.
into their lands or their realm without permission. I feel like that was like probably like a thing for the Igneos King, was that he's like, I'm gonna get you.
Well, and the fact she clearly held some of his power, I think that pissed him off to no end. He was like, why the fuck do you have my power?
They think she might have been involved in the attack on the island, though. Because
they called her an imposter.
One, her mother, and they called her an imposter.
True.
An imposter queen.
True.
We will.
Part 3 better have
Soon,
a few answers.
We'll know something.
Or I'll be very depressed.
Yeah.
And like,
because again, I don't know how long we have to wait now.
Maybe a little bit.
What's that? Oh,
a hand gesture of some kind.
From our main characters. From our main characters, not necessarily just the side.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that they are gonna bang in this book.
No, I think it's literally
she literally she described it as a slow
I did see that
burn. Also, I meant to highlight this and send it to you guys, but I didn't. Did you see on her Instagram page she says Henry's #1 fan?
No.
Yeah. In her bio, it says Henry's #1 fan.
What the fuck?
No, like Henry HENRI.
Yes, that Henry.
No, I can't read it. I don't want to read it.
It does. No, it's just in her. Yeah, it does.
Why?
So he's gonna have a redemption arc.
No.
I don't want him to. I really don't. I don't want him to have one. I mean, again, I'm sure DM would appreciate him having one. So like I get the thought process behind it, but like I kind of like hating on Henry.
Like, let it be Aemon or something. Let him like really have been the good guy.
I know, like
Okay,
interesting.
fine. He was ignorant.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's that.
Meanwhile, we have a whole podcast where we say fuck Henry. I couldn't even tell you how many times.
Well, hopefully Penn Cole can
Still feel that way.
figure
Fuck
out
Henry.
whatever is keeping her from
I know.
completing this
I
last
just feel
book.
bad for her now.
But
I know. I'm very excited. I mean, again, she said at least 1.5 years, she thinks. So I'm hoping we at least have some sort of news by the end of this year. I'm hoping for our sake and for her sake, quite frankly, because I don't think people should get hate like that.
I know.
Hey, but yes, that. But you know what we don't have to do? For whenever it comes out, we don't have to reread. We can just watch our podcast.
I
know.
love
True
that.
Agreed. Because I'll be like, what happened again? Oh, yeah, that's what happened.
Yep.
Well, and just like us talking about it, I remember things a lot better in general.
Yeah. Will I remember in 3 hours? No. I won't.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. Because you say when you edit our podcast, you're like, wow, I don't even remember talking
Yeah,
about
literally, I'm like, oh my God, we're so funny because I don't remember what we talk about.
You black out for the whole thing.
No, I don't know.
I think she does a little bit, which is
No,
kind of
I
amazing.
don't. I just
I know you
forget.
don't, but
I'm
like,
just oh.
as far as remembering it, you kind of do. You black out
Yeah.
to that regard.
But I love listening to us.
I know. Same.
I know you do. I love it.
Okay.
All right, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed reading the first half of Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. We will be releasing the next podcast episode 2 weeks from today, September 14th. We will be discussing the last half of Heat of the Everflame. Also, if you like what you hear, then please share it with your friends. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all major streaming platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, book besties.
Bye.